So who have we got so far? Mahaprabhu is not with us yet, right?
Not yet.
Yeah, we're live.
Jai.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right, we're live.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
I feel
Hare
much
Krishna
more
makes a lot.
alive. I feel
Jai.
alive.
Yes. So Narayan Prabhu, you've been talking to you've been talking to devotees for what, 50 years now. All these things that you're realizing you had originally realized back in what, 1970s, 80s, or it was a gradual process to come to this stage?
It's sort of a conflict. I've never had any time factor in coming to the stage. I've pretty much always been at the stage, but I never connected it all together in myself. I was always doing practical things, you see. When I was running a business, I'm thinking about running the business. And these things come up, maybe 10 a day, ideas come up. But now there's nothing to stop these inspirations from coming up. As far as talking with others, with whom would I be talking, you know?
No, I mean, like how we met, weren't you able to, work with other people? I mean, obviously you do have conversations with them, but you don't go this far or something? How?
No, I mean, it's very difficult to have a conversation with any devotees. They always want to tangle you up in their daily affairs.
Oh, daily affairs means what?
What they're doing, that I'm having trouble paying my rent, my wife is sick, or how old are you now? Stuff that people talk about in old age homes, and I'm not really susceptible to that sort of conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me to do that. So I generally avoid talking to people. I mean, because anytime I talk to somebody in Los Angeles, everybody I talk to, the temple president comes up and says, don't talk to him. He will set you off on the wrong track with Ritvik ideas or something like that. Actually, people are warned not to talk to me. So I just, I continue to speak out loud. When we had Govindas open, I would speak in Govindas. And then after some long time, they said, they warned me not to talk to you, but I have not found anything wrong with what you said. You haven't said anything that's wrong. So I wonder why. Is that because I'm not a member of the dominant ruling crowd? They don't want me to be involved because they're afraid it will distract from what they're doing, to manage and control people. So it's all very tightly knit, it's like a muscle. If you take the skin off your arm, you see all those strands of muscle. Well, each one is like a separate devotee tied to another separate devotee, They're all packed together, and they can't dare leave. They can't dare individuate. They can't dare. So our job is to become individuals, and why not? We are individuals, eternal individuals. So, I've had plenty of conversations. I've done plenty of stuff on the internet. I terrified Tamal at one point by exposing how he said Prabhupada was senile.
Oh, you got terrified, huh?
Well, yeah, because everyone was trying to prove that he poisoned Prabhupada.
Oh, wow. He must have been really freaked
apprehensive?
out. Yeah,
apprehensive. Well, he was, but
out.
remember, he's got his army and his loyal followers. So I'm like a stranger in the desert howling like a wolf. And he says, don't listen to that stranger howling like a wolf. Listen to me. And sit down and relax. We want some prasadam. Shall we have kirtan? Let's read from Prabhupada's books. Let's anything except listening to that howling wolf out in the wilderness.
So I'm also like the howling wolf in Sacramento. So,
Yeah. Well, that's why you and I connected on being able to do this. And the way I look at it, I don't know if you could do it without me, but I don't think I could do it without you. We
No, I
need
couldn't
this
do it.
connection to make it happen.
I couldn't do it without you.
An agreement in principle.
Right.
You wanted to become unburdened from all of the associations and talk about talking to people. Well, you know what I mean. How about yourself? Who could you talk to?
Nobody.
Right. That's why I'm in
Nobody.
the same position. I couldn't talk to anybody. So we started this Zoom call thing. Now we're talking to more and more people. And we're broadcasting on Facebook and the internet.
YouTube, yes.
Yeah, more and more people. So why not? Why don't we just free ourselves from the burden of not being able to talk, to keep our doubts and our feelings inward, to our misgivings should not be allowed to show. We should just do everything on a yes sir basis and never on a why did you ask me to do that basis, you know?
Right.
We have to individuate.
Yes.
If we're individuals, why can't we then be individuals?
Right.
We are individuals. And
We
if we're
always
not
will
acting
be.
like individuals, then
Right.
we're still stuck in the lower third of Kanistha. So, you know, if we look at it like that, maybe a certain percentage of those who are stuck in the lower third of Kanistha say, okay, get it. Now let me get out of this lower third into the middle of Kanistha. I want to be in the middle of it where I can begin to look around and not be constantly terrified by what I think people expect me to think and feel, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And then we get to the upper level of Kanistha, then you will be able to have something close to free self-expression. And you'll feel very good about yourself. And that's the good part. The bad part is that people will feel very good about you, which will keep you from moving to Madhyamadikari. Because when people are feeling good about you, you have to stay around and make them feel good, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Sadhu.
The only time we should make each other feel good is not that. We should make ourselves feel good in each other's association in the Sistagosti. And in that way, we're not trying to please each other. We are simply trying to hear other jivas like us vibrating from the platform of the eternal spirit soul. To what degree doesn't matter. I mean, it matters slice if it's 100%, but it doesn't matter in another sense because whatever it is, it's on the transcendental platform. Whereas anything in the material world, no matter how sweetly spoken, is simply another form of Maya. Even if it's Krishna conscious conversation, it's Maya in the degree that you don't individuate while hearing it. When you're an individual, pure individual, then whatever you say will be like Prabhupada. Prabhupada was speaking as an individual, pure devotee, pure spirit soul. And you could see whatever he said made sense. Whatever he said was helpful. Whatever he said was kind. Whatever he said made us want to hear more. And that's for us conditioned souls. But what when we become more expressive from the spiritual platform, as we're practicing and beginning to do here, well, then the vibration that we give off will be very encouraging to each other, right? Well, do you think so?
Yeah, sure. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we're needing.
Yeah, with this information, anyone can basically take it and then start see what's missing and then take the necessary action to fulfill or to bring it back to the original ISKCON.
Yeah. Well, we're still in the formative stage. We haven't really written much and put much
Yes.
on the website, and that will happen as we progress. But we need to put one thing after another so that we don't lose the. Well, what we're doing on the tapes is fantastic. I mean, a person could play the tapes back again and write a whole website based on what's on the tapes, you know.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's better that we come up to that amongst ourselves conclusively.
Yes. Yes.
What we've been talking about, I really make a lot of reflections on how it's related to part of the Chaitanya Charanamrita, particularly Advaita Prabhu's glories. In it, Srila Prabhupada explains the importance of worshiping Sri Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without denying either one. And
Well, of course.
it just it reminded me of that because of like how Banu had this understanding about Srila Prabhupada's mission, and coming to talk to you about what you're doing, and finally like getting an understanding of just what we're all about. Like it's dovetailed again, and we're in association talking transcendentally.
Yeah.
And
Because
also
on
the part about that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the gardener of the bhakti creeper, the
Bhaktilata
bhakti,
beach.
the tree, the tree of bhakti, and how Advaita Prabhu's followers that were not his followers, that claimed, oh, I'm going to deny everything and just follow Advaita Prabhu, they're the dead limb of the tree that fell off because they're denying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I see that as like these Tamal Krishna disciples that I'm talking about is like, I mean, not to make the comparison of Tamal with Advaita Prabhu, but just the way that people follow, and how there are these devotees that they're sincere. They're definitely sincere, and they can bring that to be Krishna conscious. They are Krishna conscious in their own right. And just how I also see other people that are totally mafia like they're just they need a lot of more purification than these others. So it's really so wonderful that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is taking place. We're very fortunate.
Yeah. Well, yes, and remember, Advaita Prabhu is Vishnu himself.
Mahavishnu.
Yes, he's Vishnu and Shiva, correct?
Well, Shiva's expansion of it, Shiva is a limited expansion of one of the Shivas. I mean, Shiva's
Prabhu is also joining.
limited expansion of one of the Vishnus.
Amiya Ghosh, Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Hari Bol,
Hare
Amiya
Krishna,
Ghosh Prabhu. Jai Shri Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So it's not so Hare Krishna. So Shiva is definitely a very important key figure, but he acts only in the material realm, in the Mahatattva, inside the material realm, for the very simple reason he's married to the goddess of illusion herself, Maya Devi.
Mm.
So because Lord Shiva's consort is the material energy and the material attraction, material consciousness, that means he is no longer Vishnu. Shiva is, Prabhupada is described, as Mara knows better than I do, that you can take milk and make it into yogurt, dahi, right? And you
Yes.
can take milk and if you go to Ganga Ram and Grandsons, you can get dahi made from milk, buffalo milk. And so,
Buffalo milk.
but you can't, yeah, but you can't take the milk, the dahi, the yogurt, and turn it back into milk. So just as Shiva is Vishnu, when he comes in contact, Vishnu never comes in contact with the material energy. So when he manifests to become Shiva and comes in contact with material energy, he can never return to the Vaikuntha lokas ever again. But he doesn't need to, because every universe has Shiva in it. And Shiva has so many different activities and pastimes on every planet. So he has no need to go to the spiritual world. And is he a spiritual being? Of course. He's an expansion of Vishnu. How could he not be spiritual? But he doesn't have a spiritual planet, though.
There's a temple for Lord Shiva in Vrindavan, Gopeshwar, and he's the gatekeeper of during the Rasa dance.
What?
He guards the Rasa dance from people
Asura?
entering. He guards others from entering.
This is from Prabhupada's books?
All that I know about Krishna consciousness is from Prabhupada books.
Yeah,
Okay. This one, this
there's a lot of ways
this
to
past
hear
time-
about stuff. Huh?
oh, this instance is Prabhupada's books, Bhanu Prabhu? This past time you're talking about? In Krishna book?
He has access to, as a gopi. I mean, he guards the Rasa dance in Goloka Vrindavan. That's what if I can recall.
Correct.
Shiva can go to Goloka Vrindavan?
No, not in a Shiva
Prabhu?
form.
Gokul Vrindavan?
He guards the place where the Rasa dance is going on. He's like the gatekeeper over there, isn't it? So,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's Ishvara,
Amir
right?
Ghosh Prabhu is also agreeing.
The Rasa dance takes place in Krishna Loka.
Yeah, I'm talking about Krishna Loka.
Yeah. The Shiva is not in Krishna Loka.
Sadashiva.
That's the thing. I mean, if we can get some references from Prabhupada's books, we can have a discussion, If it's there, then that's great. If it's not there, then let's not.
But the
I can't
problem
give
with
the
Shiva
reference,
being,
but confirm
the problem
that
with
is
Krishna
true.
being in Krishna Loka,
Oh,
how does
Jai,
he bring
if you can do that.
himself from how does he get rid of his wife to go to Krishna Loka?
Does
He's
Lord
married
Shiva have a
to
gopi form?
Durga. He's married to the material energy.
Let's
This is
continue
how-
the discussion. I'll see if I can get any reference from the Vedas.
Okay. He's going to try to find some references. So let's shift gears.
Okay,
Let's go back to the.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
You will have to clearly understand that material never enters the spiritual realm.
Right.
And if you have any material connection, you can't.
Where's the reference for what you have said that Shiva does not ever go back to Vaikuntha?
Spiritual
What
world.
did you say he doesn't go back?
To Vishnu Loka?
Right.
First of all, he's an expansion of Vishnu, not Krishna, okay?
Yes.
But as an expansion of Vishnu, he enters the material world and becomes mixed with Prakriti, material energy. If you go to Indian art books, you can find very graphic pictures of them in the yab-yum position of the material energy sitting in his lap while he's having sex with her. So, I mean, that's pretty clearly stated. So if Shiva is having sex with the material energy Prakriti, how can he go into the spiritual realm? And more importantly, why does Prabhupada refer that he is like yogurt that's made from milk? Vishnu is like milk in the spiritual world. But once milk is turned into yogurt, how do you take that yogurt and put it into the milk pot? It won't mix.
That's right. Yeah, he's derived from. He's not the original source. That's true.
Right. So he is as good as Vishnu in many ways. He's not inferior to Vishnu by any means. He's an expansion of Vishnu. But Vishnu never comes in contact, Krishna and Vishnu never come in contact with material energy, ever. That's
Right.
just what they don't do. And
Yes.
Vishnu, coming in contact, one expansion of Vishnu that does come in material energy becomes coagulated like yogurt, and he remains in the connection with the material activities. In the universe, every universe, there's gazillions of them, literally. The word gazillion means uncountable. Well, that's how many universes there are, uncountable universes. In every universe, Lord Shiva is the destroyer of what? The material world that he's occupying, material universe that he occupies. He destroys all the planets, he destroys the bodies of everybody, he destroys the universe itself. He destroys everything. And Vishnu, who is lying on the couch of Ananta, Seshanaga, with Lakshmi massaging his feet, he is the maintainer. And Brahma, who in our case is a jiva, but is a jiva that is an uttama adhikari, meaning he's a pure devotee, and came as a namacharya in Chaitanya pastimes to be with, as Haridas Thakur, a very favorite of Lord Chaitanya. So Brahma, who's normally just stuck up on Brahmaloka doing Brahma-like stuff, comes down and becomes so beloved by Lord Chaitanya when he actually does leave his body, not just seem to leave his body. Lord Chaitanya picked him up and danced with him over his head for hours and hours and hours, countless hours. He danced with him over his head in ecstasy. That's the body of Brahma, the creator of our universe, right here. Every little detail of it that you're looking at, or you're looking at now, created by Brahma. Or you might created by Brahma, meaning created by that it was invented, like if you're looking at your cell phone, it's invented by Apple, it's invented by this, invented by that. Keep going back up the scale to electronics and 5Gs and everything like that. And no matter where you go, you're going to end up with Brahma, because without Brahma, nothing would exist. There would be, when he took birth, or manifest, I should say, on his lotus flower, there was no variegatedness. Now, if you look at the world right now, just go to any grocery store, go to any electronics shop, go into any car dealership. There's one thing that you will see plenty of, and that's variegatedness. But who invented the car? Who invented the cell phone? Who invented that? Goes back step by step by step, pade, goes all the way back up to those who came to create things that came from, manifested of the Prajapatis from Brahma. So Brahma is the source of anything that has been created, that, including the cell phones that we're talking on right now. He didn't create the cell phone, but he's the source of how the cell phone was created. put it this way, if Brahma hadn't figured out what to do when he was sitting on the lotus flower, you and I would not have cell phones right now. Right?
Right.
How could we?
Right.
How could we?
Uh.
Because we always think, oh, this guy invented, or Marconi, or Thomas Edison, or Bill Gates, or Steve Jobs, all of those things. We can say, but that's like saying my feet are the ones that do the walking. Well, I hate to say it, but my feet will not walk unless they're attached to my body. And my body means my ankles, going up to my calves, to my knees, to my thighs, to my hips, to my chest, up to the brain. Oh yeah, and the brain directs how the toes move on the ground. Got it wrong. The feet are not on their own. I think that the great Prabhu has got something here.
So we got that something about Lord Shiva's abode in the spiritual world. Lord Shiva's abode. So Goloka stands above all other spiritual planets because it is superior in every way. Okay, the Brahma Samhita.
Are you reading?
Yeah. Can anyone read can you read Machi Prabhu?
Matthew.
From here.
Is Mahaprabhu here?
Yeah. Machi Prabhu, can you read?
Brahma Samhita.
From here.
5.3. Okay.
Yeah, lowest. Straight from Goloka.
Goloka stands above all the other spiritual planets because it is superior in every way.
Wait, that's not. I'm not reading that. I'm reading lowest of all lies, Devidam. Where are you getting this other?
I'm about
quote?
to get there. It's the line above. The Brahma Samhita 5.43 states, Goloka namni nija damni tale chatasya Devi Mahesha Hari Dangasu Teshu Teshu Tete Prabhava Nichaya Vihitaschayena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lowest of all lies Devi Dham, the mundane world. Next, above it is Mahesh Dham, the abode of Mahesh. Above Mahesh Dham is Hari Dham, the abode of Hari. And above them all is Krishna's own realm, named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The 8 coverings of the universe, over which Durga presides, and the abode of Lord Shiva, and the Vaikuntha kingdom of Lord Hari, all stand below Goloka.
Oh, wow. So he does have a
excellent reference.
Prabhu ki jai.
So Devi Dham is the mundane world and Mahesh Dham is above it. That's a spiritual world.
Well, partly, it depends how you define Mahesh Dham, but
so it is saying Devi Dham is the mundane world. Next above it is the Mahesh Dham, the abode of Mahesha.
Yes, but Mahesh Shiva has Durga with him.
No, that is not. It's not known. I mean, that's not stated here.
So you're saying that Shiva doesn't have Durga with him?
Well, there's a really nice point to add, and it's that Gokul Vrindavan is a manifestation of Goloka Vrindavan that is...
Well, Gokul is the
Lord Shiva,
Goloka when manifested in the material world in Vrindavan, right?
Lord Shiva with his what with his wife, he is there in Kailasa in every universe. That is different. We don't know about whether he's there with his wife in this Mahesh Dham. We have to
Okay.
look it up.
But Mahesh Dham is not the same as Hari Dham, which is Vishnu Loka, right?
Right.
So it's below Vishnu.
Yeah.
Now, the real question, which we don't get answered from this sloka, maybe it's in the next sloka, but we don't get answered from this sloka is Durga with, I mean, it shows that there is Durga's realm and Shiva's realm, but where are they combined?
It is differentiating. Durga's realm is the material world, and above it is Mahesh Dham.
Okay, but Mahesh is Shiva, right?
Yeah.
And Shiva is married to or having a love relationship with Durga, correct? Devi. So how does he have, is Devi with him in Mahesh Dham?
It's not given. That info is not given here.
Well, I mean, that's an answer. We need the answer to that question, don't we?
Right.
Okay,
If-
but
If
to
you have
the-
Devi Dham, then we have to move up to Mahesh Dham. Is Shiva come down to Devi Dham, or does Devi move up to Mahesh Dham? Or are they only together in the material world?
Right. That has to be answered. We need to find
Yes,
out.
but Mahesh Dham, well, he doesn't say specifically Shiva, but Mahesh is Shiva. Is Mahesh Vishnu until he gets involved with Durga, or is he always involved with Durga or never involved with Durga?
Well, sometimes he is not married. I mean, he likes to celebrate Lord Shiva, and some
Well,
part of his
I'm
life.
only going by what Prabhupada said,
Right.
which was that when you take milk and make it into yogurt, you cannot take yogurt and turn it back into milk. That's how we distinguish between
We're only
Vishnu
discussing about what
and
is
Shiva.
given here, so we cannot go into aspects
what-
which are not given here.
Which text is this from which book?
Brahma Sanghita 543.
Okay, well, that creates one problem for us, since the Brahma Samhita wasn't translated by Srila Prabhupada.
Okay,
Okay, what's the next text say?
Writings,
what
writings
is
of
the-
Sanatana Goswami, Sri Brad.
Text 79?
Okay. The same Goloka takes. Can you read it, Prabhu?
what book is this?
Hang
Brahma
on, I'm trying
Samhita,
to see.
right?
Pardon me. What was the verse that had that reference in the commentary?
Yeah, I'm trying to see it.
Brahma Samhita, you said, no?
Well, yeah. Srila Prabhupada put that as a reference in the purport.
The Brahma Samhita.
Yeah. So what we were reading from, I'm not sure what we were reading from, but
Yeah, what were we reading from?
It is
That we
quoting
always
Brahma
need to
Samhita
be-
there.
We always have to be sure of what we're reading from.
yeah. What did you just show us? What was text 78? Of
Hang
what?
on. It got. I mean, the screen got
Okay.
broken.
I
I'm trying
remember
to fix it.
from hearing about this pastime of Shiva dancing with the in the rasa dance with Krishna.
He's
You
the
read it in
gatekeeper
Prabhupada's
of
writing?
the Rasa dance. And
Where
there's a
did you read it?
Gopishwar temple in Vrindavan. So he also disguises, he takes the form of a gopi, and he also takes part in the Rasa dance. That's what
Well, if Shiva danced in the rasa dance in Goloka, or do you mean in Goloka or Gokula? if he danced in the rasa dance in Goloka, that means he was the only being in Krishna Loka with 4 arms.
Well,
and
what
a
he
material
did,
wife.
he bathed in Kishore Kund, and also Narada Muni also arrived in front of Krishna as in the form of a gopi.
Well,
They
that's
went.
possible.
They did different ways of going about it, and it's what Lord Shiva did is when he became a gopi, he ran to the rasa dance, and what Narada Muni did is when he was a gopi, he took instruction.
Where did you read this?
I think I heard someone say it.
Well, are you sure it was written by Prabhupada? I mean, there's tons of people that love to delve in the 10th canto. So we have to be very careful when we say things like that, because Prabhupada, I never heard Prabhupada say anything like that.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying he didn't write something like that. I'm just saying that I didn't hear him say it. I never read it. But it would have to be in the 10th canto or later, or in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that we have to find the solid source for our understanding. Otherwise, we'll get tripped out, because even if something's true, it can be misinterpreted by people that are not in our Vaishnava line. They will say it wrongly and thereby create a false impression. I mean, people like to worship Shiva, so they may say, oh, yes, Shiva danced in the rasa dance, therefore I can worship Shiva.
We're not getting it from other sources, other than our parampara or from other than from Prabhupada.
So what did those
and someone is saying.
So what did those other shlokas say in the Brahma Samhita?
I'm trying to find.
Oh, you're still looking for them. Guys, it's fun. We're like archaeologists digging up ancient sites, you know, and we're just seeing there's a cooking pot, there's some knives, there's remnants of somebody's shoe, oh, there's a skeleton, and it's all curled up there, and you know, it's a lot of fun, this sort of thing, uncovering the past or uncovering the secrets of the Shastras. But we have to be sure that we don't misinterpret what we see.
I've heard
I can believe anything as long as it's proven to me. What?
Advaita Prabhu had prayed for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. And
okay.
Shiva being the greatest Vaishnava.
He is Vishnu.
Yeah.
So
right.
He prayed for Lord. That's not unusual, because remember, the demigods go to the ocean of milk and they pray to Vishnu, and then Vishnu also prays to Krishna from the ocean of milk. So you come. It's the way it's done.
I mean, the way I believe is there's much closer connection of Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna than just he being in touch with me in the material world.
I'm sorry? What did he say, Matthew? I didn't understand what he
said. He said he thinks there's
much closer connection between Lord Vishnu and Krishna than Lord Shiva just being in touch with the material world.
Oh, Krishna, we know Vishnu's relationship to Krishna. Krishna expands as Baladev, Balaram.
Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna's connection, I'm saying.
Four Vishnus, and those Vishnus expand in other Vishnus. So Lord Vishnu definitely has a connection, but that connection is to Krishna is through Balaram, not some other connection. Because Krishna manifests Balaram, and then Balaram manifests Vishnu as a result of. It's very hierarchical. It's very pointy tops. There's Radha and Krishna at the top, and there's nothing above them. Then everything else spreads out like a gigantic Christmas tree shape, or pyramid or tent shape, coming down, down, down until you get to hundreds of gazillions of residents of Krishna Loka that may be stones or pebbles or splashes of water or tree leaves. You don't know what they are, but there's tons of them there. We're very lucky because we're being taught to have a rasa with Krishna that is not passive, that is a kinetic rasa with Krishna. We're not being taught to be leaves or grains of grass, grains of sand, or blades of grass even. We're being taught to become in what we would call a human-like relationship with Krishna. Like dancing with Krishna, playing with Krishna in the fields like a cowherd boy. These are all very kinetic pastimes. And basically more complicated than when we read them. Because supposing you have 20 or 50 cowherd boys playing with Krishna in the fields for the cows, then what happens at nighttime? Where they go, they take their prasad, then they go to their homes. Each one has his own mother, and the mother gets a breast milk and stuff like that. I mean, that's all very much more complicated than reading about Krishna's pastimes in the Krishna book.
Right.
So where are we? What are we doing? Did you find something, Banu? Did you find it again?
No.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, we'll continue discussion.
Okay, well, why not find another reference that you can find?
Reference it up. Reference it up.
Or Matthew, can you do it? You know how to do it?
What I heard it from Indradyumna, actually, his channel.
So it's an audio transcript. Yeah.
Well, did he give the exact reference?
So it's somewhat same before I say
If he did, I don't recall.
Indradyumna, interesting.
This quote somewhat stresses the same thing before we saw.
Is he from Germany? Indradyumna? Or from Detroit?
I'm not aware.
Okay. The guru from Detroit, I brought to Krishna consciousness.
So this quote stresses the same thing before we were seeing somewhat similar.
Is this also Brahma Samhita?
This Srimad Bhagavatam transcript, audio transcript. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1623.
And it's Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay, let's see what it says.
Can you read Matthew Prabhu?
Okay.
Goloka. So Goloka, Dani.
So Goloka Damni Nija Damni Tale Cha Tasya Devi Dham. This material world is Devi Dham. Under you have seen the picture of Durga. So material nature is also Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham. Above this, there is Mahesh Dham, the region of Lord Shiva, Devi Mahesh Hari Dhamasu, then the Vaikunthas, and the topmost is Krishna Dham. That Dham, or that universal system that is very, very big many times. This material universe is considered 1/4 creation. It is one Ekam Shena Stito Jagat. Bhagavad Gita 10:42. But what
we'll check what's there above this one.
Above?
Yeah.
What are we reading from?
We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, audio transcripts, January 1972, Honolulu.
Which canto?
Can we go up to the beginning of the transcript just to see where it like reference?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mention of Lord Shiva comes up at the place we were reading there.
Okay, I think we should change subjects now.
Yeah.
This is getting too nitty gritty.
So it's saying that this material world is the Devi Dham and above is
Wait,
Mahesh Dham.
what did we conclude, if anything?
So there's Mahesh Dham outside the material world. So it is saying that that is spiritual world.
My takeaway is
it says above Maheshtam is the Vishnu Dham, above Maheshtam.
I mean,
Vishnu Dham is the spiritual world. The question is, does Maheshtam exist in Vaikuntha? That's the question.
No, it is being distinguished that Haridham is different from Mahesh Dham.
That
but does Maheshtam exist in the spiritual sky or in the Mahatattva?
Is Mahatattva in the material world?
What?
Is Mahatattva in the material world?
The Mahatattva is the covering inside of which the material activity takes place. But obviously, Mahavishnu is inside the Mahatattva also, right? Because he generates the planets from there.
So it is saying that the material world is Devi Dham. Above that is Mahesh Dham. Above that is Hari Dham. Above that is Goloka Dham.
I think there's something in. I believe
which of those are within the Mahatattva?
Only Devi Dham.
Devi Dham? Okay, but it doesn't say that, does it?
There's it's, I believe, the Nectar of Instruction or Nectar of Devotion, where Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna can freely make anything material spiritual, and anything spiritual he can make material. So all this systems that he's established with all these dhams, he can make it however he pleases.
Yeah, but he doesn't basically. Basically, he creates things to be that way, not play around with them and change them.
Yeah, but it's that he's not limited by them.
No, but I would like to know, Mike, can you find out, is Maheshtam in the Mahatattva? That would solve that if it is or isn't. If Maheshtam is outside because take into account, in all the Vaikuntha planets, there is nobody that has the consort of the material energy.
No, that is Haridham. The Vaikuntha planets is the Haridham. Below it is Mahesh Dham. But
Mahesh is Shiva, right?
Right. So that is Sadashiva.
Therefore, he is in a relationship with Devi.
No. I think.
Are you saying
Lord
he
Shiva
does not
is
have
in a relationship with his consort in the material world, not in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, Lord Shiva is called Sadashiva.
Good. So then, why not determine if Mahesh Dham is inside the Mahatattva? Can you find that?
I'll try to find those verses tomorrow. I'll research on it.
Okay, fair enough. Is Ramachandra here? Not here, right?
He's muted.
Okay, so let's wait for Ramachandra. Maybe we can find it. It's a very fascinating situation And the more we explore it, the more we'll find out. But Banu, I would say let's not assume anything or jump to any conclusions.
Okay, sure.
Because if milk can be turned into yogurt but not back into milk, where does that take place? Certainly not in the spiritual sky. And what you're sort of suggesting is that Mahesh is milk, not yogurt. So if he's mentioned milk, not yogurt, then how does he become Shiva?
What I'm thinking
Or,
is,
or is there a material Shiva and a spiritual Shiva? That we need
Yeah,
to determine.
there's a material Shiva and spiritual Shiva.
But we don't know that because we haven't seen the quote yet, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, this is interesting. I'll be very interested to know the outcome. What I am staunchly sticking with, and so far I've been proven right, is there are no planets with anyone on them. In the Brahmajyoti, there are no planets other than Vishnu planets, and that Shiva does not have a planet, and nobody else has a planet in the spiritual world. Unless they are an expansion of like the Vasudev, for instance. And so if Ramachandra has a planet, he returns to his pastime as Vasudev, the first expansion of Balaram. And that's true also for Kapila, that he and his mother are expanded from Vasudev. Therefore, they go back to Vasudev. But it doesn't mean that Kapila has his own planet in the spiritual world. Otherwise, the whole thing would be not to coin a phrase, an ungodly mess.
Now we have to check whether Ayodhya is a part of the lotus of the Goloka Vrindavan.
I'm sorry, what about Goloka?
We have to check whether Ayodhya is a part of the lotus of the
Goloka, Krishna in Goloka is the cause of all causes. He's the source of all the Vishnus in the universe. Krishna is. And he does that through Balaram. He creates or manifests Balaram, and Balaram creates all of the Vishnus in the spiritual world. He also creates the Vishnu that's in your heart right now, named Paramatma. He creates all the Vishnus everywhere.
Joy.
So now we have Mahesh, and we don't know how many manifestations of Mahesh there are. And if he has his own platform, then it's definitely not the same as Vishnu, because there was a distinction there that there is, it doesn't go straight from Mahesh.
The only distinction made is the Dham of Mahesh is not in the material world. The material world is the Dham of Devi Dham, and above it is Mahesh Dham. So Mahesh Dham is outside of material world.
And what is above Mahesh Dham?
Hare Dham, Vaikuntha Lokas.
Okay, so Mahesh Dham is not a Vaikuntha planet.
Yeah.
Therefore, it cannot be in Vaikuntha.
Yeah.
Therefore, it must be, I'm guessing, mentally speculating or trying to draw a conclusion from the evidence at hand, whatever you want to call it. I would say it is inside the Mahatattva, but we need to find out where it is. You can't ask a question, is Mahesh Dham inside the Mahatattva? Google it or something like that.
Okay.
Are we talking about Kailash?
Huh? Mount
Kailash?
Kailash? Oh, that's in the material world. It's at the very top of the Ganges.
Let me ask you all a question.
Haribol.
What does this have to do with anything? What we're doing?
Who's asking?
I'm asking.
Who's I?
I am the spirit soul.
Ramachandra Prabhu. I mean, it's all connected. Krishna doesn't mean only Krishna. It's all
Is that Is that Banu asking?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Very nicely explained.
Ramachandra Prabhu is asking. Donald Prabhu is asking.
Mahaprabhu is asking.
Probably is asking.
I didn't notice that Mahaprabhu was here.
Pardon if
I
I'm not.
know it sounded a little like Ramachandra, but I don't know.
The idea that he was saying is that a pure devotee, when they're giving these the sacrifices and they're calling out to all these demigods, they're not committing that second offense of to considering a demigod to be equal to or independent from Vishnu. So when they're saying the name, like, and they're calling Shiva, it's that is an aspect of Vishnu that they're appreciating.
Well, of course. Yeah, that's an
We have to
excellent.
acknowledge that they are
Very
not
good-
independent
very
of
good
Krishna.
point.
We have to acknowledge that they are not independent of Krishna. It's connected. We have to know how are they connected.
All the list of Haridam, Maheshdam, Devidam, those are all expended from Krishna. Everything is expended from Krishna. There's nothing that isn't expended from Krishna. But it comes down in a very specific way. And when we get confused by different scriptures or by different understandings of the scripture, then we get confused and don't know where things are coming from. That's why we need Guru Shastra Sadhu in order to find out where things are coming from.
I mean, we're getting some information on the Google, but there's not a reference about a source over there.
So that text you had, Banu, was from the Brahma Samhita?
Yeah,
Who's Brahma Samhita?
Prabhupada.
He didn't translate the Brahma Samhita.
I mean, the Veda base, we have the Veda base folio from that.
As far as I know, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur translated the Brahma Samhita. Well, maybe Prabhupada did, but I wasn't aware of it. If he did, we would have illustrated it, I'm sure.
Yeah, ISKCON books.
Okay. But do they say who the author is? These things for us is incredibly important because the authors we're dealing with are great acharyas. Brahma Samhita is by Brahma, and we're in the Brahma Sampradaya. So he's above us in the Sampradaya, but we need to know if that's his Brahma Samhita or Krishnadas Kaviraj writing of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Valmiki, Ramayana. All of these things we need to know. Otherwise, we can easily be fooled by others. And our goal, our purpose in life is to not be fooled by anybody. So is Ramachandra on or not on?
I'm here.
You're there.
Yeah, I'm
Look,
listening.
I kept calling out to you and no answer. So you're there.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I was just having fun. You were calling people's names. You called Mahaprabhu, you called Banu. But
because I figured you weren't there. So I was trying to figure out who was. Who joined us?
let's see who joined.
Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu joined. Oh,
Mahaprabhu. Very
Hare
good.
Krishna Mahaprabhu.
So
Hare
Banu, Ramachandra Prabhu, can you find out in the Shastra is Mahesh Loka inside the Mahatattva?
yeah, I'll find out. Let me finish my driving.
Oh, you're still driving.
Yeah, I went
Well, it looks like you're about to cross the Golden Gate Bridge.
yeah, it was a long drive.
I mean, the question is Mahatattva in the material world? is it part of the material world? If it is, Mahesh Dham is above it.
Have you heard about Paparaj?
About?
Paparaj?
Paparaj, yes.
Paparaj? Who's that?
It means king of sin. I don't know if you know the pastime. I've heard it from some sannyasis. It's a pastime.
Of whom?
Paparaj.
And who is he?
Well, he was the king of sin, so he was a very, very sinful man. And so the pastime went that Narad Muni was out making his adventure as he does, and he came across someone that was just being very pleasing to him as like a host. And as Narada Muni asked him, is there anything I can do for you? He asked, will you go to my brother Paparaj and just help him out? And so Paparaj.
How do you spell Paparaj?
Pardon?
How do you spell that? Paparaj.
Papa is in Sanskrit for sin, and Raj is in Sanskrit for king.
But how do you spell Papa in English?
It was told to me, so.
Oh, I see. But it's not P-A-P-A.
It's Papa Francisco.
My
Is it
kids
really
call me Papa.
Sure.
I wonder why they call. Why do my kids call me Papa? I wonder.
So what happened is Narada Muni went there, and he had all these offenses that were committed to him, but he was committed, I'm going to help this person because I was asked to. And so Narada Muni, as he was about to leave, he told Paparaj, when you find yourself in front of Yamaraj, he'll allow you to ask a question, and what you need to do to save yourself is ask him what is the value of a moment's association of a Vaishnav. And just Papahari, no, pardon, that's my associate. But Paparaj from the past time I'm referring to, yes.
So this is making things clear. Actually, we can. So when a living entity is liberated from Devi Dhamma but does not know of the opulences of Hari Dhamma, he is placed in Mahesh Dhamma, which is between the other two Dhammas. The liberated soul does not get an opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead there. Therefore, although this Mahesh Dhamma is Lord Shiva's Dhamma, and above Devi Dhamma, it is not spiritual world. The spiritual world begins with Hari Dhamma or Vaikuntha Lokas.
Well, that's what I suspected.
Truth.
But we still don't know if Mahesh Dham is inside the Mahatattva. It must be inside the Mahatattva because outside the Mahatattva is the Vaikuntha Lokas.
I've heard that
So
all there is the Holy Dham. And
What?
I mean, we're just like describing these separate Dhams, but it's all the Holy Dham.
What is the Holy Dham? The Devi Dham is not the Holy Dham.
Pardon?
No.
Devi Dham is the realm
Really not holy?
of Maya Devi.
Where's the evidence of that?
Devi Dham is the
That we're
material
in the
world.
realm of Maya Devi. This is the material world. That's Devi Dham.
Can
Yes,
you
right.
confirm that? Because I've heard that all there is the Holy Dham.
No, we have been reading it. I mean, before I shared the screen, it said that the material world is the Devi Dham. Durga, the world of Durga. So if it is
So somehow or other, the Mahesh Dham is in between Devi Dham and the beginning of Vaikuntha.
yeah, and if a person is liberated from Devi Dham but doesn't know opulence of Hari Dham, he's placed in Mahesh Dham.
It's
Mahesh
it's
Dham,
the
yeah.
Jnani.
And there he cannot become Krishna conscious. It says in that shloka.
So finish explaining the pastimes of Paparaj. After Narada Muni left and Paparaj went and lived his life and left his body, he found himself in front of Yamaraj and he asked that question, what is the value of a moment's association of a Vaishnav? Yamaraj said, I'm in charge of collecting the sinful people and distributing their due punishments for their karma. And he said, I don't know the answer to this. Let's go ask Lord Brahman. So they went to Lord Brahman.
Wait, where did you get this?
I've heard it from a few sannyasis, like Giriraj Swami.
It doesn't sound anything like anything Prabhupada wrote.
Okay.
It sounds like one of those Hindu interpretations. I could be wrong, of course, but if they didn't bother to tell you where the source was. I might add that Srila Prabhupada invariably never speaks without mentioning the source. So these guys are thinking that they are successors to Prabhupada. They had jolly well be mentioning the source, no?
Right.
Hmm.
Who is Paparaj? Is he a devotee?
It sounds like one of these Hindu
Well,
kathas.
in the conclusion, he finds himself in Vaikuntha. If you'd like to just have that. I mean,
Well, you know what we could do to settle this easily? Maybe Ramachandra could look up Paparaj.
He's driving the car. I can look it up if you want.
Well, who? Oh, maybe. Okay. Did you find this other quote?
Yeah.
Okay.
I found it.
So why not find if you want? Have we finished with this, or we're still with it?
We have
With what?
Finished it.
Oh, okay.
Conclusion.
But Bhanu Prabhu, we now completely agree that Mahesh Loka is not in the spiritual sky.
Yeah, right.
It's below the spiritual sky. Whatever else we can say about it, it's below the spiritual sky.
Yes, Prabhu.
John.
What is spelling? Papa? P-A-P-P-A-R-A-J. Is it?
that or 1P?
Sorry? So do you want to find Paparaj in the database
It's not there in the Vedabase archives.
or wherever you're looking?
It's not there in the scriptures. Anyway.
This is nice because by doing this, we need never mentally speculate again.
Right.
So what's next?
What is next?
Just like Ramachandra was talking about that, what's his name? Kapila and Devahuti have their own spiritual planet. So after 3 days of exhausting work, I was
Yeah.
able to determine that they are expansions of Vasudeva,
Yes. Yeah.
and that's where they go, and whatever the relationship is of constant association, it is there in the planet of Vasudeva, the first expansion of Balaram, that it takes place. You see, I tend to see things quite a bit differently than most people. Most people see everything as big and expansive and all over the place. And I see the opposite. I see it's tight. Tight, connected, linear, and not all over the place. You know what I mean? It's like Krishna, Balaram, Vishnu. 3 more Vishnus. Then a lot more Vishnus. And that's it. That's as far as we can or need to go.
Yeah.
Because we're not concerned with Vishnu, nor Vishnu's pastimes. We're concerned with bringing, if we're smart, we will not even be totally wild about, oh, how can I get back to Godhead? If we concentrate on bringing others back to Godhead, our going back to Godhead will be assured with bells on. And that is the exact teaching of Lord Chaitanya. He didn't say go back to Godhead. He said bring people back to Godhead. So you might say, well, why should I bother with other people? Well, the very mentality of not wanting to bother with other people is preventing you from going back to Godhead. Once you want to bother with other people, then going back to Godhead will be a piece of cake.
Right. That's
Wow.
what Ishan Prabhu said.
Sorry?
I said that is what Ishan Prabhu was saying too.
Oh, yes, really. I'm very impressed. So how do we get Ishan on our Zoom call?
I'm working on that.
That'll mean that I won't have to take throat lozenges from speaking too much. I can listen to Banu. I would listen to Banu. I do listen to Banu, but I can listen to Ishan.
Yes. Let's see. We'll try to get him on soon.
Did you talk to him about joining us?
Yes.
But he wasn't that keen on it at the time?
What did he say?
He wasn't that keen on it at the time? So you asked him?
Yeah, I asked him. He wasn't so keen on it. No.
And why wasn't he keen?
I don't know. I guess he prefers the phone calls.
He what?
He prefers phone calls.
Oh, this is a phone call. It's a phone call with a picture attached to it. It's like a FaceTime call, except that we can bring more people in. So how are we going to find that quote? Is Banu looking for it? For Papa?
Which quote? That's not there in the database. Papa.
Matthew, what did you say? His name was Papa who?
Papa Raj.
Okay, Papa Raj. So we're looking for that?
No,
Papa Raj.
I looked up. It's not there.
I'm sorry?
I have looked it up. It's not there. Couldn't find it.
Not there? Not there?
Yeah.
So that raises the question, is it not there or we just can't find it?
It's not there. It's not there. Yeah.
And what?
Couldn't find
what-
anything
what's-
with those words.
What's
not
the
there.
scripture? What's the scripture? And it is Prabhupada's writing, right?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what more
So
for
what-
today?
So Madhu, what did you find?
No, it's not there. I don't think it's from scripture. It's someone told it something outside of it.
It's a grandma Sampradaya story, I think. Just kidding.
Could be, yeah.
Maybe. So, what's his name? Matthew Prabhu.
Yes.
Anything else you want to discuss or want clarification about?
Yeah, I'm interested in Krishna Katha.
Specifically, any area? Like, it's like broad range, you know, Krishna Katha.
Yeah.
Well, right here on this site, the league site, we're looking not just for Krishna Katha, but for fun, but we're looking for Katha that will lead us to delivering the fallen souls, all of them, in the next
Hi.
9,465 years.
to put it plainly, huh? Jai.
You know, let's put it plainly.
Yeah.
Well,
Can I say something? Let's
Yes.
be generous. Let's be generous to ourselves. Banu, be generous to yourself. I'll be generous to myself. Ramachandra, be generous to himself. Whoever dinged in can be generous also to himself. And Mahaprabhu, generous to himself. Amir Ghosh, generous to himself. Let's be generous to ourselves and say, no problem. We're going back to Godhead. There's no problem. Our going back to Godhead is assured. As long as we stay doing what we're doing right now, our going back to Godhead is guaranteed. So now that we're got that off our mind, am I going back to Godhead? When am I going back to Godhead? When I get that off my mind, let's say, now that I'm going back to Godhead, wouldn't it be nice to be like the Pied Piper and bring a whole bunch of other people back to Godhead?
Yeah.
You know, we're going back to Godhead. Don't worry about it. When exactly? Well, I mean, when you've gone back to Godhead, you won't be able to measure the amount of time between now and then, because it'll be such a flash in the pan. You won't even be able to measure the time when you were in the material world. Hundreds of millions of lifetimes, tons of species coming up from the ocean, crawling under the land and whatnot. You have all of those lives, it'll be like a snap of the finger, because Prabhupada said Vaikuntha time is not like earthly time. It's not relative. Everything we're experiencing is in relative time. This took 10 minutes, that took an hour, and we measure things like that.
Is
Even
the
when
time
we draw
in
pictures,
Vaikuntha?
we make isometric drawings to show the boxes have corners, you know. We draw everything as though we're destined to work on nothing but machines. But when we drop all of that and take up the actual siddhanta of Krishna consciousness, time no longer is a factor.
Yeah.
So let's not worry about how long it's going to take for us to go back to Godhead. It'll take an instant, okay? Boom, we're back to Godhead. Now let's concentrate on delivering everyone. Banu, do you like that idea?
God loves that
Wonderful.
idea.
Super.
You like it? You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it great? You're
It's
going
like
back to Godhead,
when Lord
Banu.
Ramachandra was going back to spiritual world, he said, "Come on board. Whoever wants to come, let's all join. Come on board. Where everyone can. Let's go on. Everyone to spiritual world. Whoever
Oh,
wants
that's
to board
wonderful. So what happened? Did you oversleep? While he was talking, you were having a snooze. When you woke up, everyone had gone and you were still here. Or something like that, maybe. I don't know. I'm just kidding around, just joking. Yes, but I appreciate what you're saying. Yes, come back to the. Yeah, oh, I get what your angle is. You're saying, why don't we say, come back to the spiritual world? Is that what you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Lord Chaitanya actually said it, and we're following Lord Chaitanya. If we follow Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet, where will we end up?
In every town and village.
Yes, but after every town and village, where will we end up in the end?
Golok.
Yeah, because he's
Goloka.
Krishna. He's Radha and Krishna. The minute we got saved by, look, people say, why doesn't Krishna come and save me? Well, what do you think Lord Chaitanya was? Radha and Krishna, not just Krishna, but Radha and Krishna. And he did come to save you. So why be reluctant to be saved? You say, why doesn't Krishna come to save you? He comes to save you. He says, well, I don't want to be saved just yet. I want to do more fun stuff in this material body. No. We need to say, if I've been saved, then let's repudiate all the things we thought we wanted to do with this body. We started out this body with karma to do stuff, to enjoy the body. But when we hear about Lord Chaitanya, let's abandon that. And let's say, wow, no, I don't want to enjoy any of that stuff anymore. Let me just surrender to Lord Chaitanya, because I asked Krishna to come and save me, and lo and behold, he did. Only, 535 years ago.
Right.
Does that make sense, Matthew?
Yes,
Do you like it?
I do very much.
Do you like it enough to do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I talk to devotees who've been devotees for decades. I say, when are you going to be ready? Oh, like that, And I asked Matthew, not even doesn't even have a bogus guru. I mean, a Kinista Adhikari initiator. And I say, are you ready? He says, yes. You just bypass people that were initiated by Prabhupada that aren't ready yet. Got it?
They just don't know they're ready.
Same difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
If they don't know they're ready, guess what? They're not ready. The whole point about Krishna consciousness is not what you do with, in your Kinesitic, obviously you have to take your bath, you have to follow regular principles, you get married, you have 6 months a month, you do this, you do that, blah, 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 blah. You don't eat meat. You don't do any of those things. You chant your rounds and you go to the temple and you worship the deity and you hear from Prabhupada and you worship the deities there. That's fine. But that's not the same thing as being ready to go back to Godhead and deliver everyone with us. You say, wait, I'm going back to Godhead. Now my thing is, why am I just sitting here in the temple? I want to go out and bring people to the temple. Lots of them. I'm going to bring hundreds of people to the temple. You say, to the temple president, I'm going to go out and every day I'm going to bring 5 new people to the temple. He said, wait, you can't do that. Why? We don't have any place to put them. I said, no, I'm going to bring them and you can be busy figuring out where to put them. But if we come back, why not send them out on Sankirtan to chant and ask for quarters in the way we did in the conch shell?
Back to Godhead.
Well, that's a weird idea. Who would have thought of that? Sankirtan. I thought Sankirtan was selling hats and stickers. No, Sankirtan is, San means congregational. Kirtan means chanting.
It was
That's why I
told
don't really like, Prabhupada
Kirtan
sometimes says Harinam Sankirtan, but basically I prefer the word Sankirtan. He never used the word Harinam in my knowledge. I never heard him say it once.
Srila Prabhupada?
Never.
Is it called Sri Krishna Sankirtana?
He just said, no, he said Sankirtan. He never said Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Sankirtan, Sankirtan. That's all he ever said. Isn't that amazing? So we don't need to, this is the thing. People think, well, what's the difference? It's Harinam Sankirtan. I read about it in Chaitanya Charitam. So Harinam Sankirtan, so I'll say it like that. But you see, this is my little tough point in my dealing with myself and others. And that is, if Prabhupada didn't say it to you, don't say it to others. Accept what is said by the spiritual master and reject anything that was not said by the spiritual master. But it's in his books. Yes, you can quote his books. But when you talk about things with your own verbal mouth and voice, what are they called? Vocal cords? No. Only what you hear from him and only what you say the same thing to them. What you hear is what you say. That is called accepting the spiritual master. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not? But people want to do their own thing. And with the kirtan, they say, oh, there's no hard and fast rules for chanting. Oh, yeah? There's one and half hard and fast rule for chanting. Chant the way Prabhupada chanted. That's the hard and fast rule. He had a few melodies, chant them. How many melodies do you want to be chanting going back to Godhead? And the advantage of chanting the melodies Prabhupada chant, we know where they came from. Where did they come from? Matthew, where did they come from, those melodies?
The gopis?
Probably, yeah. But from gopis means Krishna Loka, right?
Definitely.
Definitely. And you know what Narottam Das Thakur sings? He sings, Hare Krishna comes straight from Krishna Loka. But with chanting, I have no connection. Day and night, I'm burning in this dark world without working to make the correction. Hare Krishna comes straight from Krishna Loka. So why are we chanting, say no hard and fast rules? Does anyone that's listened to me know why there's no hard and fast rules? What Lord Chaitanya meant when he said that? Shastastikam? The no hard and fast rules means you are allowed to chant, dude. Hey, dude, you're allowed to chant.
Early. Wait.
You're not too much of an untouchable to chant the holy name. You're not too much of a malacha, a shudra, a kshatriya, a vaishya. Nobody can chant the holy name except certain twice-born Brahmins. No hard and fast rules means
You can chant it anytime.
Dude, it means you, dude. You can chant. You have permission from Lord Chaitanya saying there's no hard and fast rules, so you can chant. Of course, we all assume it. We hear all the devotees. So we hang around in the temple and Hare Krishna. You know, we don't realize how rare it is to be allowed to chant the holy name. 600, oh no, not 600. 435 years ago,
535.
435 years ago, we were given the permission to chant the holy name. Before that time, we were not given the permission to chant the holy name. Prabhupada said when they broke open the storehouse of love of God, I'm never tired of this. It's on a recording, it's ecstatic to hear. It's enough. If a person has an open mind and they hear the tape, they will become a devotee immediately. And they can start initiating the Kanista gurus too, because they'll be more advanced than they are. He said, when he broke open the storehouse of love of God, the holy name, the nectar of the holy name flooded the whole land. And I think it didn't flood just Bengal, it flooded the whole planet. And those who are devotees, when this flood came out, like it was higher than the head level of a person, right? Maybe it's 100 feet high flood. Those who are devotees, they drowned. And those who were not devotees, they floated. The ones who were devotees drowned because they absorbed it as their life and soul. Glug, they accepted it inside and out. Drowning. They breathed in the holy name. Those who were not devotees, they were like that. They couldn't help themselves. In spite of not accepting and even rejecting the holy name, they were floating, just like a duck in a pond, floating. We were like fish, and those other devotees that were floating.
The mundane world called it the Renaissance, right?
Yes. And it changed from the Dark Ages to music, the worship of God, the clothing they wore, the architecture they built, completely changed without ever having heard of Lord Chaitanya. Isn't that amazing? So you know about the Renaissance.
Well, yeah, I became aware of it. Someone told me that there was a very close cycle that happened that was very closely related with the astrology of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance.
Yeah.
And
You
they
see,
said
in the earlier days, in the Middle Ages, there was culture all over the place. Kings, everything, sword in the stone, King Arthur, all that stuff. And then what was it called? I was just going to say Intifada, but that's mental. Came the, God, I forgot, what is it called? It came a time when the church shut down everything. All the civilization shut down. And people became practically black and white in their living. Everything was like black and white. But when the Renaissance came, everything came back up again. Like seeds are in the ground, apparently dead. Let the rain come or the flood come, and the seeds grow out of the soil. Of course, they didn't become vegetarians, but they sang beautiful songs. They dressed in nice clothes. They had nice pastimes that they conducted. All of it well after the time of King Arthur. This was all in the time of basically, what's his name, Columbus, finding America. That's sort of just before that time. So anyhow, isn't that nice?
excellent.
Yeah, it's excellent. Excellent. So that flood over the land. So our being devotees is okay. We were talking about the 435 years since Lord Chaitanya's disappearance. His appearance was 500. So in that time, since Lord Chaitanya, look at us. We have heard the holy name. And it's not long ago. It's not long ago. It's recent. 500 years. I mean, it's not recent. It's not in my lifetime, or even my father's or grandfather's lifetime. But let's say my lifetime 77, and my father was born in 1896. My grandmother was born in around 18. No, she was. My grandmother was born in 1860. My great grandmother was probably born in around 1830. So this goes back very quickly in things that I have written examples of in my family tree. I have the letters that they wrote back then. Sort of interesting, huh? So, but that doesn't go back. And then when did my ancestors come to, my mother's ancestors, when did they come to the what became the United States? They came just after the Mayflower. 1 or 2 boats after the Mayflower. In fact, anybody that came on the Mayflower is probably a blood relative, because they probably married people on the Mayflower with the people that came off the boat I was on. They were Puritans. So take it back to that far. You're talking about over 400 years, right? 500 years. And then we're getting close to Lord Chaitanya's time. And I have cultural memories to go back most of that time. It's not very long ago, 500 years. What to speak of 435 years. It's recent history. So from there, we get the holy name. We are told, share the holy name. Bring everyone with us. Matthew's going back to Godhead. Bhanu, you're going back to Godhead. Guaranteed. When you go back to Godhead, you won't be able to measure the amount of time you've been gone from Krishna Loka. It'll seem so short. But here in the material world, the three-dimensional world, or as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, tri-quadrantal world, in this world, everything seems a long time. Look at a fruit fly, or an ant, or a mosquito. They don't live very long compared to us. Mosquitoes, particularly now, if you swat them, oh, we shouldn't do that to kill them, but our blood goes flying all over the place. But if a mosquito, if you swat a mosquito, how long will it live? A week? But he thinks he's living forever. He has every thought, hope, feeling, and desire that the human being does in minute form. So what's the difference? Perception. Look at us. Oh, he lived to be 100 years. Your grandfather lived to be 100 years? Wow. But what's 100 years in one of Brahma's days? His day is 6,400,000,000 years. Is 24 hours of Brahma 6,420,000,000 years? No, that's his day. His day and night together is 12 billion 12 million whatever years. 24 hours for Brahma is billions of years in our time. We have astronomers out there trying to figure out light years. Well, keep going, dude. Keep going. How are you going to figure that one out? You can figure it out. Just become like Narada Muni, so you can fly through outer space with your Veena, your instrument of string, and go to Brahmaloka, and then you'll see it from his perspective. That's what Narada does. He lives in human realm on human time on planet Earth, or Earth time on planet Earth, sun time on the sun planet, moon time on the moon planet, Indra time on Indraloka, and Brahma time in Brahmaloka. He's the son of Lord Brahma. Just imagine how amazing that must be, to go from huge days to almost non-existent days. And then we go from there to the fruit fly. He doesn't even live one day, but he thinks he does. He thinks it lives a long, fulfilling, rich life. Right? He thinks. We don't think that he does, but he thinks that he does. Think of all the germs in our bodies that only live, flash.
And we bow down to them too.
Bow down to them? Meaning?
Yeah, well, not the germ, but the soul.
Oh, yeah. The jiva. Well, the jiva in the germ is being guided by?
Paramatma.
Yeah. Is it a different Paramatma or the same sort of Paramatma?
Same Paramatma.
Yeah. Well, you could say it's the same Paramatma, but Paramatma expands. I mean, just think about how many times Paramatma has expanded. If you take your body and put it in a place like a glass jar or something of that sort, and start counting the jivas in that glass jar, not counting the ones crawling around on the inside of the glass jar, but the ones in your body. Count them. You have to take your clothes off in the glass jar, because if you keep your clothes on, there'll be gazillions more jivas that you have to count. But anyhow, get down to that point. I'm just kidding around, but you're in the glass jar counting jivas, and there's a Paramatma in the heart of every single one of them. Now, how amazing does that get? How many Paramatmas are there? Well, in my body, almost an infinite number. That's just my body. How about your body? How about the body of the worm?
So there's a
How
Paramatma
about-
inside every jiva, and he's also there inside every atma, every atom. So can you explain what the function of Paramatma is in every atom? How he?
Why is Paramatma in every atom?
Yeah.
The best I understand is that's what keeps them floating. Have you ever heard of atomic energy? Atomic bomb?
Yeah.
Well, that's atoms being crunched into close proximity. That means the Paramatmas are being crunched into close proximity. Boom.
Oh.
I never heard anything that Prabhupada said specifically about the atom, Paramatma in the atom, but he's in the atom because he says, I am the Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatam jagat. I'm sorry. I was wondering if I was singing it. Yes. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatam jagat kenakta kena bhunjitaha mahagridaha kasasidanam. The saying that the Lord is in so many pieces, united and so that, but he is the complete balance. So when we say that Krishna, Isavasham, Isa means Krishna, Isavasham, Isha can also mean a Saudi king too, for that matter, Al Isha. There's a guy named Isha that just killed a bunch of people in Boulder, Colorado. So the Muslims take the Sanskrit from us, and use it. So anyhow, because all the languages come from Sanskrit. Prabhupada said there's only two sorts of language, Sanskrit and animal sounds. And to that, I took the liberty of adding natural sounds, like splash, Animal sounds means woof, woof, woof. So we can write WOOF. That's a word. Woof. Or I could say, but what about the natural sounds? Water goes splash. Now a bird goes chirp. That's an animal sound. The water goes splash. The wind roars.
Hmm.
You know, so how much of English language is made up, or probably Hindu too, although I don't speak Hindi. I know one phrase, Hindi ne janta, that's as far as I go with Hindi. And if Amir Ghosh is still here, I'll say I also know Bengali. Bangla na samasta. So there we go. That's the extent of it. So we get back to the jivas in the atoms, and every jiva, every paramatma in every atom and in every jiva is completely detached and self-sufficient. He never comes in contact with the material energy. Otherwise, they wouldn't be Vishnu in the heart, it would be Shiva in the heart. But he's not. Vishnu in the heart means he's floating, not touching anything. And yet, when we say, make me dance, that's obvious, isn't it? Who else is making us? We go to a dance with fiddles and straw hats and kicking our heels in our cowboy boots. We go to a dance. Who's making us dance? It's Paramatma. Right? Who else could make us dance except Paramatma? So when we say make me dance, he already makes us dance whenever we feel like dancing.
Yeah.
So now we say, make me dance as though I'm a puppet, not like I'm demanding, I want to dance a Bengali dance, I want to dance a Hindu dance, I want to dance Bharatanatyam dance, I want to dance Kathakali dance. No, I just want to dance. However you make me move, I will dance. That's my dance. So we do that. And look what happens. We have conversations like this one.
Hmm.
Do you like?
Right.
Isn't it
Yeah.
fun? So the more we all do it, the more fun it'll be.
Yeah. So Shreya Prabhu has also been with us since some time.
Shreya's on here.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances to Shreya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My obeisance to you too.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, very nice topic today. Really liked whatever you've been saying. And there's one thing I want to ask you. You always mention that it just takes 1 second to get connected to Krishna.
1 second connected to Krishna?
Right.
Did
You
you
say
say?
that, right? Yes. You always say it just takes 1 second. Doesn't take too much time.
Oh, yeah, no, it doesn't take any time at all. What takes time is convincing ourselves that we want to be connected to Krishna. In the material body, we have a thought of things we have to do. Oh, I will connect with Krishna in that instant, except first I have to blow my nose, or first I have to wash my hands, or first I have to adjust my clothing so it looks better, or I have to put on, shave my head, or put on makeup, or whatever, That's what slows us down. 1 second is all it takes to connect with Krishna from the spiritual platform, yes. But we have to do that and nothing else. When we do that and nothing else, that's fine. But look at Srila Prabhupada. We don't have to panic, because look at Srila Prabhupada. He spent so much time talking to people in this material world at their pace, at their intelligence level, whatever intelligence level was there. But he spoke to people at the soul, and their intelligence level improved by chanting and by shravanam kirtanam, by hearing and chanting. Everyone's improved their hearing. So it only takes a second to hear, but it takes more than a second for most people. Not all. Some people can become completely back to Godhead in Some people can go back to Godhead in one instant. But that's not me. I'm still hanging around here after 71 years, 77 years. And I'm still stumbling around looking for my other shoe and figuring out where I put my keys. And who shows me where my shoe is? Who shows me where my keys are? Shreya, who shows me that?
Krishna.
Yeah, Paramatma Krishna, yes. I say, where's my
So there is
keys?
this.
Who am I talking to? I'm not talking to myself, because if I knew where it was, I wouldn't have anything to say. Oh, I don't know where my keys are. Where are they? Over there, stupid. That's Paramatma talking.
So what is the meaning in Damodarashtakam, that prayer, I do not even want to know your feature as Paramatma?
Yeah. Oh, that's Mother Yasoda is praying like that?
It's Damodarashtakam who.
Yeah, but who? Oh, it's a devotee is praying that to Damodar and Yasoda, or Yasoda is praying that to Damodar?
It's I've heard it's tradition to say it every day of Kartik.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So repeat what we don't want again.
The translation I've that is at our temple here is that one of the verses says, "I do not even want to know your feature as Paramatma."
Yes. We want to know Damodar. Well, that means to know Damodar as spoken in that Shastric prayer, you must become an Uttama Adhikari. Otherwise, you have no choice but to know Paramatma. Paramatma is there for you even if you're a rat. Paramatma is there for you even if you're an earthworm or a bird or a plant or a germ. So Paramatma is there with you at all times. So if you don't want to know Paramatma, then that means you want to know Krishna face to face as in your rasa with Krishna. You're praying, I want to have association with you, not just Paramatma. But I can't say just Paramatma, because without Paramatma, I wouldn't be able to get up out of my chair. I wouldn't know how.
And can I say something here, Prabhu?
But of course, Prabhu.
Okay. I think this particular line is in context to something like what happens in the field of Kurukshetra when Krishna is asked to reveal his Vishwarupam, and probably after I feel this particular verse is in context to that, where Arjuna, after seeing the Vishwarupam, says, I cannot handle this anymore. I cannot see this. I need to see you back in the normal way that I've been seeing you. Please, can you come back?
Yes.
So probably this is in context to that particular aspect of not being able to handle seeing the Lord in his Vishwarupam. I felt
that is Vishwarupa, and this is
You
Paramatma.
see, for anyone who has a rasa with Krishna, they're not inclined to see Krishna in some other rasa, in some other form. They want the form that they are bonded to and who's bonded to them. Krishna and Arjuna are bonded to each other. It's not just that Arjuna is obedient to Krishna or that Krishna is just handing favors to Arjuna. No, they have a rasa of these chivalrous rasa of Krishna and Arjuna. They travel all over the universe. Wherever they go, they've even become what Prabhupada named me, Nara Narayan in Bhadrana. They are always together in some context or another.
Prabhu,
Okay.
so this question I asked you earlier
Yeah, Mahaprabhu
about
joining.
Who's joining us?
Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu.
Oh, Mahaprabhu just now joining?
Yes.
He went out in between.
Oh my goodness, I was speaking to you all along. I didn't realize you weren't there.
Haribol.
Haribol. So anyhow,
Narayan, I
yes,
have a question.
I try. Shri Prabhu, I want to answer your question best I can. So say what you were saying is wonderful. It is totally bona fide. So tell me, give me the
I
core of the question that you're looking to answer for.
uh, Over the last couple of days, I've been having this weird uh, kind of connection. It's like every time we try to live the materialistic life, we are stuck and we are in the vicious circle trying to do our mundane tasks. And suddenly there's something that tells me, why are you playing all these things? Just think of me. I don't know. There's that inner voice which keeps tapping and keeps saying, you don't need to worry about it. I'm there. You just have to leave it all up to me and everything's taken care of. And then I
Exactly.
have and then I have been getting this feeling or sensation which tells me that anything and everything in the materialistic world is way too limited and I belong to the unlimited. I don't know. There's something that's happening.
Yes.
I just
Well,
can't.
but your body is in the material world too, right?
Right.
Being transformed into a spiritualized body, the way Prabhupada's body was transformed too. Yes, no, that's perfectly good. You could. It is profound enough to write a book about how well you've expressed that issue. That's very nice. Yes. So we, the
It's like
jiva, are in the limitation of the material world, but the material world that we're in, we tolerate because we have our material body, and in that material body, we have to buy milk from the market. We have to, you know, buy wheat. We have to cook rice. We have to do all these limited things, but we can do it in a transcendental consciousness. That's the whole point. We spiritualize our life, spiritualize our tasks, and Krishna will guide you from within as Paramatma until you don't have to think about cooking anymore. You'll end up cooking because you're cooking. You'll end up walking because you're walking. You'll end up going somewhere because you're going somewhere. When you go there, you'll find out where you went. You don't have to give a lot of big intellectual activity to anything that you do anymore. Just go with whichever way you're being guided by Krishna. But of course, be sure it's Krishna that's guiding you, not Maya Devi, but be guided from within by Paramatma because he's been guiding you all along anyhow.
and there is this feeling that it's like when you wear a pair of maybe those 3D glasses, you tend to watch the movie totally different. But when you remove it, you don't understand the movie. It's something of that feeling. So every time I feel this worry about any part of the material world, I again the inner voice wakes up and it says, you don't need to worry about this. It's me who will take care of it all. Just leave it to me. And there is a little bit of confusion now. How do I differentiate whether it's Maya Devi or Krishna?
Can you say that last part again? How do I what?
How do I differentiate, or how do I know it is not Maya Devi that's guiding me, and it's not her and it's Krishna?
Well, that's the big pickle in the material world. That's the big trouble in the material world.
Faith.
That's why even the Madhyamadikari, when he's being guided from within by Paramatma, by Vishnu, and he's shedding his beautiful, pious, upper level Kanista Adhikari form and identity, self-identification, and trading it for his Swarup, eternal Swarup with Krishna. When all of that happens, Maya Devi can still creep in. And therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, on the outside, the Guru is watching you and protecting you so you don't fall down from the Madhyamadikari platform. Because you still can. Until you're in Uttamadikari, you can still fall down. So in your case, how do you distinguish? Well, you have to, first of all, what does Krishna ask you to do? If you have to go and buy toothpaste so you can brush your teeth or whatever you use for brushing your teeth, well, that's a clear need and you need to get it. So you don't have to think about it. somehow you'll get it. Somehow you'll go out, somehow you'll get it. I find in my case, the more I do this, the more I get up and do things without thinking about it. I just end up doing all the right things because they're the right things to do. Now, how do I know they're the right things to do? Because I'm being guided to do them by Paramatma. You know, and the more you do that, the fewer Mayadevi mistakes one will make. And besides which, I'll tell you a hint about being guided by Krishna from within, is that Mayadevi mistakes don't feel good. They may be superficial, but they have a certain hot quality to them that may be tempting. Like a person's attracted to a piece of chocolate. Oh, I want that, you know. No, that's, you have to avoid. You have to go only for those things that you know that Krishna wants you to do or have. If you do that, then you're on the right track. But it's gradual, and there's no question of it. And that's why women tend to wear a nose ring in the left nostril. It's called a nath. Nath means Lord, like Jagannath. And you put the nose ring in the next, in your nerve touches, it touches a nerve in your nostril, which slows down that interesting quality that women have to be impulsive. So it slows down your impulsiveness. It slows you down and you're being pulled back by the nath or a chain going to your earring from the nath. It holds you back and it makes you steadier as a woman. Now, I don't have a nose ring, so and I don't recall when I was a woman last, if ever. I can't have any past life recollections of being a woman at all. So it's really weird. So, so anyway, does that help at all, or is it too jumbled or too confusing?
No, it is definitely helping me understand the part where you say that anything that is guided by Maya Devi is gonna have those, kind of makes you sad, and it is kind of that
Yeah,
makes you
well,
feel tempted.
it could be greed, lust, satiation, and then reaction. They can,
Anger?
yeah, anger. It could be anger. It could be just I ate too much candy, so now I feel sick to my stomach. That was not Krishna that did it. That was Mayadeva that offered you the candy. So you have to know, I'll take a candy, but a gulab jamun, but I'll take one or a half or something like that, you know? I won't take more than will feel good after I've consumed it. Does that make sense?
There's one more question that's been bothering me.
Of course. By the way,
This-
I like your questions and I like your realizations.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Prabhu, I want to know, why did I get connected with you? What is it?
Why did you what?
Why did I get connected with you all, as in this particular team? There must be a purpose.
Well,
There must be a reason behind everything. That's how I see things.
that's
So
a
there must be.
wonderful question. A wonderful question. And it's how this league for 10,000 years is going to expand into millions of people. Maybe not in my lifetime, but at some point. But in my lifetime, hopefully hundreds of thousands of people. Why? Because Krishna understood your desire and he connected you with people that could satisfy your spiritual desire. I'm not a Misty Walla, so I can't sell sweets to women, but in terms of Krishna Katha, if that's what you want, well, this is the Namhata, the marketplace, or Dr. Bhakti said, Namhata, the marketplace of the holy name. So, so you've come to the right place because Krishna, to make it, let me answer this simply because I'm not so frivolous enough to be able to answer properly. But let me just say, you came here because Krishna directed you to come here, because he knew your heart and he knew that if you came here, you would be able to express yourself the way you're expressing yourself right now. The way you're expressing yourself is fabulous. And I remember when you first got involved, I saw that you had a tremendous aptitude for Krishna conscious understanding. That was sort of obvious to me. But since that time, I've heard you speaking more and more the way one would expect someone from the Madhyamaka platform would speak, from realization and introspection. And these are the right things to do. And that's what we're all trying to do. And as a result, my dear Prabhu, I consider you an inspiration to me. Because when you say something, it literally blows me away. Because your questions are genuine questions. And I assure you, I've been in conversations with even people that have been in this movement for decades and heard things that were not genuine questions.
Prabhu, I sometimes don't know how to respond to these comments you make, because I just speak without having to think through it. And as you said, let Krishna speak and you don't speak. That's what I try, to say every time.
The secret is be patient and be eager. Be patient and eager at the same time. Be ready, in other words.
And now there is this other
And you sound ready. Why? Because your inner core desire is to hear the truth, to understand the Shastra, to understand the purpose of life, to understand everything. So you have that genuine desire, so exhibit it and everything will go well. In this association, at least. I can't guarantee any other association, but this association, yes.
And Prabhu, I'm tending to become a little too sad these days, because I feel I'm not getting all and more that I'm looking for. And I feel it's the same things that I keep hearing on and off. And I want more to this. I don't know where to look for the more that I'm looking for.
More what?
I don't
More
know.
what?
I don't know. I want to hear more. I want to learn more. I want to do more
You
to
mean-
Krishna. But
Oh yes, well you
what do I
will.
do?
There's no need to go anywhere. You go into your own heart and it will be revealed to you. Krishna will reveal to you what to do, where to go, whom to talk to, and how to do it. Krishna will reveal everything to you if you surrender to Krishna. That's why surrendering isn't the last thing you do after becoming a devotee. It should be the first thing you do after becoming a devotee.
You should try reading
Does that
Srimad
make sense?
Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita for new knowledge.
Okay.
You know, whatever you read, it will lead you to your next question. Is that right, Banu? If you
Yeah.
read something, it'll bring you to your next question. It's not, oh, I got an answer to my question. That's part of it. I don't know this. Oh, I just read that. Oh, it's answered my question. That's a material process of getting higher intelligence spiritually. But if you read something, it will lead you to your next question. That's the spiritual process.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is that okay?
Yes,
It's
yes.
okay.
Of course, there is the next
So-
question. How do we surrender? And how do we know we have been accepted by what or how we've surrendered? But then, I don't know.
Surrender is not a thing which you just, it's not like becoming baptized in a church. Surrender is you surrendering as you go. We all surrender to everything. We surrender to Maya, we surrender to
So it's
Krishna,
not
we
the
take
one-
guidance from Krishna. Okay,
Prabhu,
so
sorry to
surrender, just what you're doing is the process of surrender. I can assure you. I don't want you to get conceited because I'm saying so many nice things about what you're doing. But I will say that if you continue as you're going, surrender is built into that.
Right. So it's not a one-time thing where I say I'm surrendering to you. It is every single day, every single minute, every single test you need to pass by saying I surrender, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to think about it.
You don't even have to say I surrender. You just surrender. Yes.
You
don't have to
surrender
think
your
about
mind, you surrender your thoughts, you surrender your actions. Everything you,
And your feelings.
right.
So the thing to do is be patient, but at the same time, be impatient. In other words, be patient because of our defect. Be impatient because you are spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, impatiently want to speak like spirit soul, not like a creature of this material world. And interestingly, when you speak as a spiritual being from the platform, the minute platform of pure spirit soul, separated from the physical body and mental concoctions and all that, when you do that, when you speak from that platform, then everything else will fall into place and your material needs will come to you. You don't have to go to them. Anything
Yeah.
you need materially will arrive.
Hare
Right.
Krishna.
So sometimes it looks like more of freedom than anything, because the more I tend to think of Krishna, do service in whatever way I can, thinking it's for Krishna, and every work that I do, I leave, all the everything up to Krishna. If I constantly keep doing it in that mindset, I know everything that I need materialistically. It's just happening to me. I, and that looks
Well,
like more of freedom than me running
it's
after things and
anything
getting.
material is not even happening to you, it's happening around you. Because if you separate yourself from the consciousness of being your body, which is not always easy to do, but you separate yourself from the consciousness of being your body, then everything around you is interacting with either itself, all the different things, all the people, all the things, all the rubber hits the road, the car drives or doesn't drive, whatever these things are going on is its own world, but it's not you. You're a spirit soul. And so it doesn't have to impact you, but you're living within your bodily and mental relationship to the practicalities of material life because you're in a material body. You have to do that. But if you could do it the way Prabhupada did that, I mean, no one's going to say he never wore shoes. No one's going to say he didn't wear clothes. No one's going to say he never took a shower or never ate. He did all of those things. But he didn't have to do those things like a businessman calculating a business deal. Everything came to him because Krishna sent the things to him that he required at every step he took. And we, the disciples, could make any monstrous illusion out of that we want. But that's not what it really was. What it really was is we were witnessing someone who had no material desire, and yet whose bodily needs were satisfied by prasadam, by kirtan, by bath, by nice cloth, by comfortable experiences, by walking, by sitting, by sleeping. All of those things that we associate that we have to make big plans for, they all came to Prabhupada because Krishna sent those things to him. And then he sent people to him. Why? Because he just like you are asking, how did you get sent to us? Well, how did we get sent to Prabhupada? Somehow we were attracted and we went and we listened. And Krishna gave us that connection from inside our heart. Paramatma connected us with Krishna through Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada was manifesting Krishna 100%, 100%. He was manifesting Krishna. So how we could not get Krishna by associated with Prabhupada? So similarly, your questions earlier also, that by seeking out persons who are not confining, not trying to trap you, not trying to make you a disciple or a initiate, or not trying to get your money, or not trying to, we're not trying to do any of those things. We simply want to speak. Wherever you go, whomever you meet, simply speak of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said that, and we are attempting to follow that example.
Hare Krishna.
One initiated guru tried to capture my wife, and I stopped that. He really wanted to make her his disciple, so-called disciple. So I put a stop to that.
Is that recently?
Like 6 years ago, when we got
6 years
married.
ago, yeah. Yeah, because he saw she could distribute books.
Yeah.
It's like saying, oh, I like that cow. Why do you like the cow? Because it gives milk. I'll take the milk. Sow the milk. That's why I want the cow. Well, don't you love the cow? Cows come, cows go, but I want the milk from the cow. So that's why you want the disciple of your wife. Well, yeah, because he wants to use your wife like a cow to produce something for his use. I mean, if your wife was not selling books but sewing bead bags, you'd say, oh, that's great. I want that bead bag sewing person because then I will get them to sell bead bags and give me the money. That's
He was really upset.
It's a very human materialistic way of thinking, but it's not what we're doing here.
Trying to get
by the
employees
way,
in the business.
I would like to share with you all that Vashish, I don't know if you saw it or not on your screen, but Vashish sent by something on, he must be listening to us right now, or was listening to us. He sent a notice across the screen saying, Jai, what you're saying is very wonderful. He was said like that. So that's nice. To hear from Vashish like that is a great honor. Anyhow.
Hare Krishna.
So are we, any more questions at this point? Or clarifications of the clumsy answers I gave?
No, you never give us clumsy answers because if it is not something, we won't come back and argue with you. So they're definitely not clumsy. And another thing, what I wanted to know is, Srila Prabhupada got his guidance from his teacher. He was told to do a certain thing. I'm waiting for that order. I don't know who to ask for the orders. I'm asking Krishna to give me his orders, what he wants me to do next.
Well,
Because
this is it. When you perfect this, you'll be able to do anything. But you know how Prabhupada defined what to do and what to do next? He put it in a simple phrase. He said, do the needful. So if you do what needs being done right now or in the future or at any moment, in other words, don't do anything else. Only do what needs to be done. If what talking with us on this Zoom call needs to be done, then do it. If doing something, washing a dish, do it. If sweeping the floor, do it. Whatever needs to be done, do it. And Krishna will guide you by doing the needful to doing the super needful, and then the extraordinary needful, the blissful needful, and the transcendental needful. He'll guide you all the way, and why not? He's interested in you. Krishna is interested in you as much as you are interested in him. And maybe a little more.
You just did answer my question again.
I did? Or did
you just did. You just did. I kept thinking.
Do the needful? Yes. But I didn't answer the question. Prabhupada did. Because just like you are being guided by by Paramatma in asking your wonderful questions, I'm being guided by Paramatma to give you the wonderful answer that I would never have thought of if you hadn't asked the question. But it's true that Prabhupada did say it. Anyhow, you get all these wonderful fine distinctions. When you're speaking, as we are beginning to speak and hear on the spiritual platform, everything becomes multifaceted, like a diamond sparkling in the sun. We'll get all of these wonderful experiences.
And I also wanted to tell Bhanu Prabhu. Bhanu Prabhu, are you there? Are you with us?
He's very much there.
Yeah.
You should see the expression on his face. He's so there that he looks like Thakur.
You're asking where
In other words, sober as a judge.
you must read chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhanu Prabhu. You will get a lot of answers that you were looking for. I
Thank
don't
you.
know, you coming to me. As in, I keep thinking of you when I find some answers that I want to tell you about it. So the chapter 7 where Krishna what particular things, and like for example he says he is the smell of the earth and he is the
Taste
syllable
of
O.
water, the light of the
Yes.
sun.
Yes, the other day I think we were talking about it, and I wanted to point it out specifically from which part of where in Bhagavad Gita. So I found it. It's in chapter 7. So you will get a lot of
Sure.
Yeah. Well, help us to get through the day.
But Narayan Prabhu, thank you so much for making your time available for us. I don't know where else I would have been searching for answers.
I realize why you're asking me a question and me answering it, it gives me insights that I would never have had if you hadn't asked the question. So I thank you. Can I give you a little quote from Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy
Yes,
on the topic?
yes.
Because I won't go through the whole thing, although it's worth going through. Is Ramananda Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy, who was a local king of sorts, tell him about life. And he said the Aniavalas beach, and that means social beach, like the Kanista Arikari interrelatedness on the transactional platform back and forth with one another. And he said that, and Lord Chaitanya did not like that at all. So then he said, what else can you tell me? And so Lord Ramananda Roy, beginning to get worried, said, what about the Jnana Karma beach? Which karma means devotional work to improve your position in the universe, higher birth, and karma, jnana means knowledge to become liberated into the Brahman, impersonal Brahman. And Lord Chaitanya, needless to say, wasn't interested there either. So now, sweating in a panic, Ramananda Roy says, can you not tell me anything better than that? So Ramananda Roy searched his thoughts and said, well, what about the Bhakti Lata beach? And Lord Chaitanya asked, and what is the Bhakti Lata beach? Oh, it's the devotional creeper that comes from your heart and comes up like a Jack and the Beanstalk. It comes up like a vine, up straight up to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And there at Krishna's lotus feet, it puts out leaves, flowers, fruits. And that is where you develop your spiritual perfection. Lord Chaitanya, by that time, after that excited explanation by Ramananda Roy, shuddered with ecstasy and said, yes, and go on. And so Ramananda Roy went in and out and around the Bhakti Lata Beach topic and the pastimes of Krishna topic, everything topic. And then it came to the end, of course, everything comes to an end at some point. And boom, there they were standing there together. Lord Chaitanya, one individual, you remember, and Krishna is an individual, and Ramananda Roy as another individual, just as you are. Bhanu's an individual, Ramachandra's an individual, Shraya's an individual.
Mahaprabhu.
Mahaprabhu is an individual.
Matthew Prabhu.
And Matthew's an individual. And what shall we say? Amir Ghosh was an individual. I'm just kidding. So the individuals, they were standing there, two individuals, one of them Lord Chaitanya, but acting as a sannyasi, therefore acting equal to Ramananda Roy, not superior. Oh, when he's in kirtan, he looks very superior. But when he stands there and asks you a question, he's asking you. He's making you a bit on the superior side by asking the question. I mean, if Krishna wants to ask a question and he thinks you know the answer, then he thinks you're a little bit superior to him. And do you know where the superiority lies? That's the funny and wonderful part. The superiority lies in the fact that Krishna does not create what you say, you create what you say. And even though it's something that Krishna knows, you are creating it. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya looked at Ramananda Roy and said, with tears streaming down his face, thank you, embraced him. And Ramananda Roy embraced him back again, although he couldn't figure out exactly what was happening. And he said, thank you for telling me all of these things. Thank you for sharing with me these pastimes. And these realizations and insights. And Ramananda Roy's eyes are bulging out like a frog, and he's saying to Lord Chaitanya, but my dear Lord, I didn't know any of those things. I didn't know any of those things. It was coming from you, not me. I was to open my mouth and your words came out of my mouth. Lord Chaitanya said, yes, that's true. But if it had not come from you, it wouldn't have sounded the way it sounded when it came from you. Therefore, I am ecstatic that you spoke as you did, even though I was guiding you, as we could say, from within, to say those words. Of course, Krishna guides everyone, the frog from within, the rat from within, human from within. Why not Ramananda Roy from within? So anyway, that explains also why when Ramananda Roy asked Lord Chaitanya, how did you explain the verse of Sarvabhuma Bhattacharya, the Atma Rama Shloka? Lord Chaitanya said, I can't explain it. And he said, oh, why? Because it was a different time, a different place, a different person. And then he said, oh, then I mean, I'll never understand it. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, I'll explain it to you now, you as an individual, in this time, in this place, right here. And I will explain it to you as it'll be different and the same. And in the Prabhupada's teachings of Lord Chaitanya, there are two complete separate explanations of the Atma Rama Shloka. Can you imagine? Prabhupada said it and he proved it. Then in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he has Lord Chaitanya with Ramananda Roy, making Ramananda Roy the mouthpiece at that time and that place in such a way that Lord Chaitanya could relish what Ramananda Roy was telling him and was weeping from the pleasure that he got from hearing his devotees say things like that. So, to get back to Shraya Prabhu, do you see? That's how it works.
Hare Krishna.
Sometimes
Jai.
you feel that you're moving, you're progressing in your spiritual path. Sometimes you feel you're on a halt. And like you just said, you have to be patient and impatient at the same time, eager at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
That I call the waiting period.
Either be patiently, impatiently, or impatiently patient.
Right, it's like the waiting period, and I don't know who likes the waiting period, but I am not somebody who likes the waiting time. I just want it right now.
I'm sorry, Prabhu. You don't like what?
Waiting. I don't like to wait. I'm just asking. Wait. Yeah. I don't know. It's like
not liking to wait means you're impatient. So
right.
Wait impatiently with patience, because the more you are wanting, the quicker Krishna will satisfy your heart.
We need to be patient. Patience.
But
yeah.
with that,
but
with
impatiently
that,
patient means if you're patient impatiently, Krishna knows you want to hear now, so he'll tell you now.
But there again, I have this confusion. So when I'm asking Krishna that I'm really not willing to wait and please guide me, is it like I'm forcing Krishna to do something which is not at the right
No,
time?
there is no waiting. I mean, there's so much activity we can do in spirituality. Like we can do Juyapa, we can have this Ishtagosti, you can listen to lectures, you can read a book.
So
So
what
much
is it you're
activity we
impatient?
can do.
Those are good points. But Shreya Prabhu, what is it you're impatient about? An abstract thing or a conceptual thing or a practical thing? Where's your impatience lie? What do you want to know that
The
you're
orders.
impatient? What are you impatient for?
All this while, Prabhu, all my life, I've always been given direction to go ahead with a certain thing. And every time I was in doubt, I always said, I leave it up to you. This is what my heart says I have to do, and this is how I proceed. But right now, my heart is too silent. It doesn't say what I need to be doing.
So
Whether it's in the
then
practical world, yeah.
then you do the needful. When you do
Maybe you're not listening.
no, she's listening. Okay, doing the needful. Just do something that needs to be done. Iron your clothes, whatever. As you do it, the answer will start to come to you because you want things explained in a way that you want it to be explained. What if Krishna is waiting to explain something in a way that you haven't yet encountered?
Right.
So
This
said,
is what
I
I'm
don't
doubting.
know. I want the answer. I want the answer. Like a little kid, I want to know. Tell me, please. They said, I can't get an answer. It's frustrating. I'm going to iron my sari. So as you're ironing your sari back and forth, then you start with the motion of your arm, you're beginning to get the motion of your question being answered. You can't demand the answer. It must come to
Right.
you from
Right.
Krishna.
Right.
And Krishna
I
wants
fear
you to
that.
know, but the thing is, Krishna wants you to know everything you want to know.
Yes.
So it's just a question of being ready to hear or do. But it's not even answers. If supposing you are completely understand that you need to chant your beads on japa, and then you start chanting, and you say, "Why aren't I chanting better? Why aren't I chanting more?" Well, you get to the first step, then you do the second step, and then at some point, the japa will chant to you. The japa beads will chant you, not you will chant the japa. Then you feel that satisfaction. But don't expect it to be immediate. We're kinestadakaris. We're not very advanced. You're really pushing the limits of kinestadakari in the upper realm of it, I would say, because you're touching within the realm of the madhyamadakari. You're asking questions that a madhyamadakari is more likely to ask. Very direct Krishna conscious questions, rather than relative, what should I do today to become more spiritually advanced or something like that. So the idea is to realize that everything you're doing is spiritual.
I cut my grass today.
Yeah, and if you're doing something that tends to be material, then surrender to doing it more spiritually.
Okay. Yep. I'll do that.
It's an easy question to answer, and it's an impossible question to answer. Both.
Do the needful. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Do the needful.
Yes.
And being a lady, you're not a brahmachari, you're a brahmacharini or a lady or in a family situation. That adds, like Mirabai also was. And she was married and she was chanting all the time, and her husband got annoyed and wanted her killed because he couldn't stand having a beautiful woman there completely unavailable to him. So he sent her off to be killed. And then the guy that was supposed to kill her couldn't bring himself to kill the wonderful Mirabai. So he sent her across the river to Vrindavan. And then she ended up with a beautiful temple there in pastel colors, and cream colored and jade green colors and stuff in the temple. And it's all made at a smaller scale than you would expect in a man's temple designed for men. So anyhow, that's what happens. You have to go, surrender to Krishna, everything else will take place. Do not surrender to anyone that tells you to surrender to them, because if you
Right.
do, you should simply shoot them, and then that'll be the end of it. And if
I
you get
don't
arrested
think
for
so.
shooting them, then you'll be in jail and you
Hare
can't
Krishna.
talk over the whole rest of your life.
I somehow don't think so. I can be misguided now with being surrendered to anybody else after I've come in contact with Srila Prabhupada, because
Yes.
all his videos at every point in time are always knocking me off all that knowledge that I have so far gained from all sorts of sources. So until I find somebody who could really make me believe they're better than Srila Prabhupada, which I highly believe is impossible, I'm not going to move from here.
Well, yes,
Hare
well,
Hare.
you're in
Hare
this
Hare.
association that is, would you feel that this Zoom call is supporting that mood
Yes.
of yours?
Yes, it's just that
So,
when I don't have anybody to hear me out, at least I know I can ask you all whether or not the answer is right or wrong. You still answer, and in that answer, I know there is an answer.
oh,
Hare
that's
Krishna.
wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
That is impeccable. That's good. Good. You know, I try to answer the right way, but I'm an imperfect being. Therefore, answering as best I can only do what you're doing, is touching on the truth. I cannot manifest it all at once. So, but you can listen to Prabhupada and he does manifest it all at once. So, and you don't need a guru. You don't need anything. You have Prabhupada. He's the guru for the next 10,000 years. I'm sorry, the next 9,465 years is Prabhupada. End of
Right.
story.
Yeah.
So once we understand we're not looking for a master in this world, we can take the master from outside of this world who came to this world and then was untimely sent out of this world. You know, we lost 10 years of Prabhupada's association. His astrologer said he will pass away. You know, he accurately mentioned that Prabhupada would leave his earthly pastimes in 1977 or 78, was it? I forget which year. He said, but if his followers do not do him in, that actually said that. If his followers do not do him in, you know, he will live another 10 years. So that would have been 1978, 1988.
Yeah.
And he said, he cried out where I heard his voice like a voice from the sky, but he was just sitting in the room talking quietly, but it seemed very thunderous to me. He cried out with great despair. He said, I could have done so much more, he said. This was years, years in the mid 70s. I could have done so much more.
Wow.
Ramayan, Mahabharat. But he just had to accept that he was preaching to a bunch of fools. Compare that to Jesus speaking to people that were sub-fools. Jesus even said that. I could show you so much more, he said, but you're not ready to see it yet. So Prabhupada said, I could have done so much more. And he was lamenting that he didn't get to gift the human race for the next 10,000 years or the next 9,400 whatever years, that he cried out that he wished he could have done that.
Right.
So if Prabhupada feels that way, Srila Prabhu, then what to speak of you and me? But the advantage that we have is hearing only one shloka from Prabhupada can take you back to Godhead.
Yeah.
And can take everybody that you know that's related to you or not related to you back to Godhead also. So Srila Prabhu, is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Good. So don't worry about
Thank you.
anything in this material world. Whatever you need. I mean, women biologically or gender-wise, women are always wanting and needing things. I want to bring food, I'll cook it for everybody. I want clothes, I want to look nice for everybody. I will do this, etc., etc., etc. Women want to do these things. But
I've never
for
been a
you-
part of that
for
group.
you can transcend that. You do all those things, yes, but it's not the goal.
I've never been a part of that kind of the women group. I've always been a spiritual seeker all my life. I never found the satisfaction in materialistic stuff. So I'm very happy I was not seeking
Okay.
anything the normal usual women do.
Well,
Hare
I can
Hare.
only say that that is the mentality and symptom of a person that is either is on or is ready for the Madhyamari platform. And I will say that to my dear godbrothers here, that when I say Madhyamari platform, I've only met two other people that I considered on the Madhyamari platform. One is Rukmini, who is the daughter of, what's his name, at the temple in Los Angeles. I don't remember his name. And my own daughter, Jyotir. When she was born, I could tell, but she's stuck where she is now, and I just hope she will advance in this lifetime. But anyhow, so this is the third person I've met who shows the symptoms of Madhyamari by not wanting to talk about ordinary things.
And
I only wanted to
something.
talk about Krishna. And we're all working, I'm working to try to come to that platform as well. But it doesn't matter to me what platform I'm on, because whatever I'm doing is what I'm doing. And I try to pray to Krishna, please give me words that will help everyone. I want everyone to go back to Godhead. I want each and every, not everyone, I want each and every Jiva to go back to home, back to Godhead. Therefore, that's why we're here. You're
Hare
already,
Krishna.
Mahaprabhu, you're going to go back to Godhead. Now,
Hare Krishna.
what you don't know exact 10 minutes from now or 10 lifetimes from now, hard to say. But in the meanwhile, bring everybody else back to Godhead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, exactly.
Amen.
We can bring everyone back to Godhead.
Hare Bol.
Hare
Is
Bol.
that okay? Manu, you okay with that?
Sure. Great.
You know what's amazing? The Vashish must have been listening because he said that he liked the lecture, the talk. I'm sorry, I talked so much in this time. I felt we were getting off on a, sort of a not completely clicked start. And we solved a lot of problems. We discerned where Mahesh Loka is more or less, and there's more to be found. And yeah, we burst into this thing, and this turned into I felt like Ramananda Roy. I felt like Ramananda Roy talking to Lord Chaitanya, saying stuff, and I had no idea where this was all coming from. But I was amazed because it seemed to fit what needed to be said and heard tonight. And I apologize if I simply talk too much.
Never.
Hare Krishna.
No problem.
Never.
No.
So has anyone else got anything to do or say? Or are we complete?
I only wanted to say just yesterday I started reading the Bhagavad Gita as it is. I've only heard the audiobook. So starting yesterday, I thought I'm going to make it a point to start reading it. So it would be great, if I could discuss things again as we go reading about it.
And your Bhagavad Gita is the unchanged original Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, I think it is the unchanged. Is it the Macmillan version? That is the correct one to read?
Well, Ramachandra, what would you say?
Yeah, Macmillan edition, 1972. That's
Yes.
the original one.
I'll share it in the group. Please guide me if it's the correct one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now the audiobook, well, who's doing the audiobook? Is it being done?
It was done by Karamsad. I don't know. It's karamsad.com that produced the audiobook. So I've heard that in the past, but then
Ramachandra, are you there?
Yes, there's two versions of that. They did the edited one and they did the 1972 version. So I'm not sure. You have to check that Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 13. As the embodied soul continuously passes, should look for self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. And they put the sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
I don't think so. It's the sober person part. It's the other one.
Yeah, the self-realized. Then it's the 1972 one. Then, yes.
Okay.
213. Self-realized soul.
I just heard that part yesterday. What I do is I keep listening to either Srila Prabhupada's videos or Bhagavad Gita or anything
Yes.
that's an audiobook when I'm doing all my other work. And yesterday I heard this very line. So that's why I know it at the top of my head.
Self-realized soul is
Wonderful.
not bewildered by such a change. Yes.
Yes.
So everyone becomes self-realized.
He's talking about the book. In
Yes.
the book, if it is self-realized, that is original book.
Okay, Prabhu. Got it.
Good.
Hare
You see,
Hare.
we're creating this just group of half a dozen people on this site. We're creating a demand for the original book, not because of an idea that it's better or because we're annoyed at ISKCON for changing. We're doing it because we want to know the answers that are in the original book. Therefore, us little group is like, when a baby is conceived, just two cells, then 4 cells, then it multiplies exponentially until it turns into a baby. So that's what we're doing. We're creating a society which is, by the time of birth, it'll be millions of cells, meaning hopefully millions of members of our group, and millions of people listening online.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Hare.
So how is it going?
I only want to thank you. That's all. Thank you, everybody. You guys are wonderful.
Shraya Prabhu, we thank you. Thank you
Hare
for
Krishna. Hare
triggering
Prabhu.
our interest in Krishna consciousness, bringing us from the darkness of ignorance into the light of knowledge. Your
Prabhu.
questions are superb, and we like answering them.
Oh, I'd like to suggest something. So, WhatsApp group, people can also ask questions live, just like audio version, press and hold the microphone button and you can speak and it sends the audio. So in that way, people don't have to write. You can share your realizations, questions. It's more fun than
amazing. And where does it end up?
No, I'm saying in WhatsApp, our league for 10K, you can record audio, meaning just you open up WhatsApp and you'll see a microphone on the right side or left side or whatever.
Oh, yes.
And then you can hold that and speak. And then once you're done speaking, you let go and then send it. So the audio gets sent.
You keep your finger on the microphone the whole time that you're speaking?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
No, you don't have to, Prabhu. What you need to do is touch the microphone button and swipe it upwards, and then you just release it. You can just go on recording it. You don't need to keep holding. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot more easier that way. Yes.
Wonderful.
And then once you're done, you just hit the send button. You can send it off.
Oh, got it.
See, we were all looking for a guru. Now we have a WhatsApp guru in the form of Shraya.
WhatsApp guru sounds really nice.
Oh, Prabhupada said, guru means heavier than me in knowledge.
Right.
Who knows more than I do, that's guru. So that's why we shouldn't try to inflate the concept of guru into an imitation of Prabhupada by people in ISKCON. No, we should understand Guru. If you know something more than I do, you're teaching me, then I'm the student. No, you're the
I
Guru.
think Prabhu, to answer that, and to all the audience who are listening in or across the globe, the only way that anybody can prove to be better than Srila Prabhupada is if they can write even a single book to its weightage that Prabhuji's written. So if anybody can accomplish writing at least something close as to what Prabhupada has written, then maybe we can at least consider them to belong to that group of gurus. I don't think so. Anybody in our generation's got that capacity.
I don't think anyone will be able to do it before the end of the golden age of Kali, for which we are the league
True.
of the golden age,
True.
10K. Why will nobody be able to do it? Because Prabhupada already did it. What
Right.
books? We don't need any more books. We got more books. If you like to hear a little funny thing, Hansaduta, after he stopped being a guru and he became, fell down, but he knew all the gurus, like they were all his pals, partners in crime, you know. So he was sitting somewhere with a guru, one of the ISKCON gurus. I'm saying guru, ISKCON Kanista Adhikari initiators. He was with one of them, and he's saying, "Oh, Hansaduta, you had so many disciples. What would you say if somebody wants to take initiation? What would you say is the requirement for taking initiation?"
Read all
I
the
don't know if it
Prabhupada's
was,
books.
yeah, I don't know if it's initiation or what, or second initiation, Brahmin initiation. Yes, read all of Prabhupada's books. And the initiator guy looked at Hamsaduta with his eyes open and said, "But even I have not read all of Srila Prabhupada's books. I haven't had the time."
It's not just about time. I think it's all about the understanding. It's not just like a storybook that you read or get the essence of it as soon as you read it. The revelations happen at a much later time. It's never exactly when you read it that you realize or understand what's written in those books.
You
I
can,
strongly
but
have that
not
faith.
always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
It happens
Right.
every time
Sometimes
you read it.
and you have an aha moment. Other times you read it and it comes to you many years later.
Mm. Sometimes it's again, every time you read it, you get revelations and realization.
Yeah. And if you want to know something, Krishna wants you to know it, but he may also pick the time that you find out. You may want to know something now. Krishna says, "I'm not going to tell this person now. I'm going to tell them later." And I will tell you one thing, what in my own life I've experienced is this talk about Kanista Madhyam Uttamadhikari. Prabhupada told me decades and decades and decades ago. And I've told hardly any people before this group, probably 3 or 4, maybe 6 people. And I saw with great reluctance. Because I figured if Prabhupada wanted everybody to know, he would have told everybody. He's told everybody, it's in the Shastras, but it's hidden. It's like you have to lift up a cushion and you see the diamond ring is under the cushion. You don't know where, you don't know why he didn't just come out and say it. Well, I have so strong feeling I know why he didn't come out and say it, because it would have made the guru situation far worse than it is right now with the movement. But at this moment, I felt it's time. So can you imagine from when he told me till now, it's time. Now is the time to do that. And that's why we're doing that right now. So, and that's the secret for the next 10,000 years, the next 9,465 years. Wait till next year, it'll be 9,464 years left of the golden age of Kali. So that's, you see what I'm pointing out. I'm only saying this, I know everybody wants to say something. I wish that I could complete everything quickly, but to your idea of wanting to understand something, it will come when the time comes. Just like it's come now to time for me to talk about Kanista Madhyam Uttamadhikari, whereas before I couldn't do it. I couldn't see, I saw the danger was greater than the advantage. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Naranaran Prabhu, I must say the way you put it across is so clear. So we do understand every time you're trying to say something. So you're not definitely taking away a lot of time, or it's perfect. That's exactly how I feel. I think everybody else also would agree to that.
Well, they, okay, they can just agree on in the big chorus if they want, but I would say that the only reason I know what you're saying, but I want everyone to be fully involved too. Yesterday, people were fully involved. It was an amazing experience. But today, I didn't feel it was getting off on that tone yet. So I jumped in and started doing this, what I'm doing now. And then Shreya came in, and Shreya answers questions which are rare. So, I mean, I needed to be able to answer Shreya's rare questions too. You, Shreya, rare questions. And then also Ramachandra came in on the later side. But everything else clicked.
Yeah.
And Banu was great. I know what Banu is being particularly great. He shows up on the screen as a golden deity. What have you got here?
You know, Ronald Prabhu, whenever you do this, it's even more interesting because we want to definitely see what you got.
I said, maybe you can read it.
Why don't you read? Who? Shreya? Read it?
Yes, she's excellent reader.
Yeah, Shreya, could you read it?
Okay, the one in highlight, right? The yellow.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Prabhupada said, now for our disciples, we don't give anything cheap. Our first condition is character, moral character. You see? So unless one is accepting moral character, we don't initiate, don't allow him in this institution. And this Maharishi was, oh, you do whatever you like. You simply pay me $35 and I'll give you some mantra. You see? So people wanted to be cheated and so many cheaters come. They do not wish to undergo some disciplinary action, you see. Anything. They have got money, they think that I shall pay. And immediately he'll get the money.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you look for, you get. So you look for people who could cheat you and you got them.
Bravo, bravo. That's wonderfully said. Thank you very much.
Hi. Amazing, huh?
Jai.
Yeah.
Instant heaven, journalist. Yes, that is their position. Just like people are trying to go to the moon planet. I have given my opinion. You have seen in the Los Angeles Times, question mark, this chance is very remote. So Prabhupada was always presenting the Vedic version of astrology, science. He never deviated because we can see that the moon planet is a heavenly planet, right? According to the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Why not read the next statement by Prabhupada? It applies to today's news.
Oh, okay. This one?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Why don't you read Narayan Prabhu?
No, you read. Where's my voice? I want hear other people's voice.
Okay, Prabhupada, yes, why not? Suppose in your country, you have got some quota for immigration. Within this planet, if somebody comes without your immigration department's order, no one can enter. How do you expect in that planet where people are more advanced, they are called demigods, they are living for 10,000 years. How can you expect that you go and you are immediately enter into the moon planet? and they are selling tickets, reservation, you see, everything. They have, they make a fun of it, you see.
So this Elon Musk is making a fun. I mean, he's making
Yeah.
a fun and he's selling electric cars.
Yes, yes. You got it, Bharati.
So what does he say next? He says,
What did
are
he
you
say?
saying that there are people on the moon? Yes.
Yes, they are. And are they demigods, Prabhupada? Yes. How do you know this? Oh, from our scripture, from the Vedic literature. Journalist, from what literature? Vedic literature. How do you spell it? How you spell that? Vedic, Vedic. Oh, Vedic. I beg your pardon. Yes. You forgive me if I, that's all right. That doesn't. I don't mean to offend you. Sometimes I do not follow your accent. That is a difference of country. That doesn't matter. Yes. So that's it. See, what else can we find? It comes about the moon again. So let's read this one. Let's see. Unless one is very, very intelligent, he cannot come to Krishna consciousness. He must be very intelligent. So if we find one or two intelligent persons, ekas chandrastamo hante na cha tara, then one moon is sufficient to eradicate all darkness. There is no need of millions of stars. Krishna consciousness is so beautiful. You can call any intelligent person. We are prepared to convince him. Any intelligent. He must be a little intelligent. That's all. We don't want Ellen Greensburg. Yes, but I'm not even convinced. No? Ellen Greensburg, I mean, everything you say is beautiful, but Prabhupada, no, you are a very intelligent boy. Why not? You are intelligent? Question mark. You are a recognized poet. You are a popular poet. Why you? I take you intelligent. You are first class intelligent. You are chanting. So this is a conversation in 1969 in Columbus, Ohio, with Ellen Greensburg.
Columbus. I was listening to that through a hole in the wall of a closet.
Oh, interesting. So this is I usually search keywords, you know, because Prabhupada uses these words like this. So you can see it came up 137 times in conversations.
I do that.
Then Prabhupada says,
that whole quote is something that would give Shreya a lot of insight, that whole page. I'm going to just tell her where to find it and she can find it somewhere.
Yes.
Then Prabhupada says, unless one follows the regulated principles, he cannot be free. And unless one is fully freed from sinful reaction, he cannot understand what is God. Huh? Those who are not sadachar, regulated principles for them, just like the animals, they are not expected to follow any. Of course, by nature, they follow regulated principles still, but human being having advanced consciousness. So instead of using it properly, they misuse the advanced consciousness, and thus they become lower than animals. The animals, for the want of advanced consciousness, cannot follow any regulated principles. But by nature, they've got some regulated principle. A human being, advanced consciousness, instead of using it for advance in spiritual life, they use it for sense gratification, and thus they become lower than the animals. So as soon as one becomes irregulated without any sadachar, then he cannot care for any sinful activities for maintaining his body and soul together. He doesn't mind. Their philosophy is, what is it called? Existence is the first law of nature, or something like that.
Survival of the fittest. Something.
Right, I was just about to say that.
Yeah. So this is a wonderful tool called the Bhakti Vedanta Database, where Prabhupada is you know, sharing his wonderful explanations of the scriptures in simple language, huh?
Straightforward.
Straightforward as it is, right? Let's see what
Actually,
comes up.
because these are the questions that we don't find answers to in any books. I think these conversations are excellent.
No, Prabhupada is external representative of Krishna.
And
sorry.
what I can't find it in books is this straightforward answer that we get from of conversations. It's like somebody's just done our similar conversations before us, and so it's so easy to pick up from there.
Well, that's good.
This one to Mukunda. Shreya Prabhu, can you read this, maybe, please?
Sure.
Hold on. There you go. Let me highlight it.
The answer to your Ishtagoshi questions are as follows. Unless one is a resident of Krishna Loka, one cannot be spiritual master. That is the first proposition. A layman cannot be a spiritual master, and if he becomes so, then he will be simply then he will simply create disturbance. And who is a liberated person? One who knows Krishna. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, anyone who knows Krishna in truth is immediately liberated, and after quitting the present body, he immediately goes to Krishna. That means he becomes a resident of Krishna Loka. As soon as one is liberated, he is immediately a resident of Krishna Loka, and anyone who knows the truth of Krishna can become spiritual master. That is the version of Lord Chaitanya. To summarize the whole thing, it is to be understood that a bona fide spiritual master is a resident of Krishna Loka.
Let's read this one too. This is also very important.
Okay. Your next question, whether the spiritual master was formerly a conditioned soul, actually a bona fide spiritual master is never a conditioned soul. There are three kinds of liberated persons. They are called Sadhan Siddha, Kripa Siddha, and Nitya Siddha. Sadhan Siddha means one who has attained perfection by executing the regulative principles of devotional service. Kripa Siddha means one who has attained perfection by the special mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master. And Nitya Siddha means one who was never contaminated. The symptoms of Nitya Siddha is that from the beginning of his life, he is attached to Krishna and he is never tired of rendering service to Krishna. So we have to know what is what by these symptoms. But when one is actually on the Siddha platform, there is no such distinction as to who is Sadhan, Kripa, or Nitya Siddha. When one is Siddha, there is no distinction what is what. Just like when the river water glides down to the Atlantic Ocean, nobody can distinguish. Oops, I think the screen share is gone.
Oh, sorry. Something. What happened? My phone died. I couldn't hear. Oh, there we go. We're back. Sorry.
No problem.
Where were we? Okay. Is the screen back yet?
Yes, it is
Yes.
back. Glides down to the Atlantic Ocean. Nobody can distinguish. I'm just trying to. Okay, back 1 second. Which portion was the Hudson River or some other river? Neither is there any necessity to make any such distinction. Actually, every living entity is eternally uncontaminated, although he may be in the material touch. This is the version of the Vedas. Asangayam Purusha. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. The living entity is uncontaminated. Just like when there is a drop of oil in water, you can immediately distinguish the oil from the water, and the water never mixes with the oil. Similarly, a living entity, although in material contact, is always distinct from the matter. You want me to continue?
Yes, please.
You are correct when you say that when the spiritual master speaks, it should be taken that Krishna is speaking. That is a fact. A spiritual master must be liberated. It does not matter if he has come from Krishna Loka or he is liberated from here, but he must be liberated. The science of how one is liberated is explained above, but when one is liberated, there is no distinction, there is no need of distinction whether he has come directly from Krishna Loka or from the material world. But in the broader sense, everyone comes from Krishna Loka. When one forgets Krishna, he is conditioned. When one remembers Krishna, he is liberated. I hope this will clear up these points. I hope this will meet you in good health.
Sure.
Your ever well wisher, Hisi Bhaktivedanta Swami. I am very much anxious to hear from Janaki why she does not write. Okay.
Oh, Ramachandra, this
Yes.
whole communication and the previous one should be published on our website.
Yeah. Right.
So that really puts it in a nutshell.
Matthew
it's
Prabhu was
amazing-
saying something. Matthew Prabhu?
Oh, always remember Krishna and never forget him.
Yes. Yes, Narayan Prabhu. Yes, our website. We have
Okay,
to put-
so,
put-
yeah, of course. So the amazing thing is that Mukunda goes on to become a guru after receiving that letter.
it's pretty interesting, huh? He became a big guru. It just goes to show that people read things like this, but do they actually understand it, or do they discuss amongst God brothers and they clear their doubts? Obviously, it doesn't seem like it, because right there it's saying, one must be a liberated soul to be a spiritual master. So what
Yeah.
happened?
Well, maybe he believes that he became a liberated soul.
Yeah. Right after Prabhupada left, everyone became a liberated soul.
Well, he wasn't in the first group. It was further down the line, right?
Yeah, I think 20, 30 years ago he became one. Anyways,
But by
anything?
that time,
Yes,
Go
this conversation, it reminds me about when I heard about the digging of Radhakund. I had this realization that the gopis, they carried the water in pots, but I was thinking these gopis, they'd do anything for Krishna. So
Yes.
they just happen to use pots because if they didn't, I mean, they would be willing to use their hands, but because the pots can do it better for Krishna than that method, they carried the pots to
that's a beautiful, that's a wonderful realization, isn't it?
it's the needfulness that
Oh, yes. So that's our goal here at this league, is to do the needful.
Here you go. This is a conversation dated July 16th, 1968 in Montreal. My Guru Maharaj explained that you haven't got to learn anything extra for Krishna's service. Whatever you know, just apply it. Whatever you know, just apply it. Then
Is
you
Prabhupada
become
speaking?
successful. Because our time is very short. Because our time is very short, we do not know when I'm going to die. As soon as I'm out of this body, I'm completely under the grip of nature, and I do not know what kind of body I'm getting. So, there you go. My Guru Maharaj
Right.
explained that you haven't got to learn anything extra for Krishna's service. Whatever you know, you just apply it. Then you become successful. Interesting, huh?
Very. But that is related to, but doesn't lead directly to, the Madhyamadikari wants to develop his rasa with Krishna.
Yeah.
Therefore, he
That you have to learn.
He works in that connection under the guidance of Paramatma and Guru.
Yeah, it's saying service-wise, Some
It's
Krishna
entire
It's like don't need to wait as you advance. I mean, you can start it wherever you are. That's what is Prabhupada.
Right. There is no prescribed set of things that you need to learn to start applying.
Yes.
That was very nice, Ronald Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Jai. All right. So, are we done for tonight? I think we went pretty long today. 7,
It
5,
did go a long time,
11, 20.
but it was worth it.
Jai.
Every
We
time we're
got to
getting
hear
every time
from
you ask
Prabhu's.
close, I feel like saying no, please continue.
Well,
Understand.
the best thing is you come on early. We started at like what, 7 o'clock this evening.
I joined you almost after 2 hours of the meeting had already begun. I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for that reason, we stayed longer. We were going to give up about when you came in, but we couldn't because it was such a wonderful conversation that came out of you coming in.
I'm so sorry. I keep stretching this thing.
No, don't be sorry.
That's fine.
We've had a wonderful evening.
We're at your
Nobody's
service.
complaining.
Yeah.
We're not complaining.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, then I think we'll end it here. Then our next meeting will be on Wednesday. Anyone watching on YouTube, Facebook, wherever they're watching, they can also join us. We have meetings Sundays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. But we also have meetings in our WhatsApp group, the League for 10K. You can contact me or Bhanu or Matthew Prabhu or Bhanu, Narayan or Share Prabhu. You can get the link. So we can have a wonderful Ishtagoshti and anything else you like. Any
This is
last,
fantastic.
yeah, any last words from all the devotees?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hare Krishna.
Bhanu, anything?
Mahaprabhu, good night, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Vanessa, let's do it. Let's bring everyone to Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, Prabhu. I'll end it here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bye.